Hotep Senuela Senut i Tiren Ishakanugu Kemet. I hope you're doing well. Oh, Reggie's backstage. No. Brother Reggie, I don't see you backstage. I don't see you. But I'm sorry. I don't know if the previous link was shared with many people. But as I started this live stream, I did not see Reggie backstage, and I thought, oh, I must have started the wrong live stream. So I ended the live stream and realized it was a right live stream. But I've shared the new link to you, Brother Reggie, to your email address. So. Uh, Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I get it. You've sent a message on YouTube, so it means you have. Yeah, the link has changed, brother Reggie. The link has changed. So I've sent the new link to you. Oh, you know what? No, you're not on the chat, so I cannot do. Yeah, yeah, brother Reggie. I'm just waiting for you. Don't worry, I'm waiting for you. I have so many stuff in my mind. I have another live stream tomorrow with Ned and Neb. And I went to the Louvre Museum for that Kush exhibition, and I saw for the first time artifacts from Berlin, Bonn in Germany, from Chicago, the and from Metropolitan Museum, from the Brooklyn Museum. So I was quite overwhelmed. Um, if you can hear me, brother Reggie, I've sent the new link to you on your email address. So feel free to join us. Feel free to join us. Brother Reggie is about to share some information with us. Please share your email address, Brother Reggie. I've sent the email like what, 4 minutes ago? No. Why is it not showing? Let me refresh this. Hope the email went through. Didn't go through? Oh no, I didn't send it. My bad. So it's always good to double check if your email went through. Now you just received it, Brother Reggie. I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry about this. Now if you check your email, you will get it. If I go to send messages, yeah, new link. Yeah, my bad. My bad. But we good now. We good. We set. If you check your email address right now, you should have received it like a few minutes ago. I'm sorry, a few seconds ago. You have to forgive me, brothers and sisters, for this tumultuous start. Tu as vu qu'elle a retiré son truc là? Brother Reggie should join us real soon. In the meantime, feel free, brothers and sisters, if you have any comments or questions in the chat. Getting ready to hear from Brother Reggie. He'll be there really shortly. Please check your email address, Brother Reggie. I've shared a new link. The last link that I've sent, a few hours ago is no longer valid. There's a new link. It's in your email address. Feel free to type any comments in the chat if you have any difficulties. I didn't even share. There it is. In the community, it is shared now. Might as well go ahead and delete the previous live stream, which lasted only 10 seconds or so. I'll go to live. Or maybe I've deleted it already. This one was a class, so I can delete. This one here. the aborted live stream. Now, okay, let me type in the chat. Let me type in the chat. J'ai déjà commencé ici. No, Brother Reggie, please check your email for the new link. We're waiting on Brother Reggie. It's my fault though, because well, I don't want to repeat it all night, but oh, okay, all right. Reggie has responded. Great, great. So Reggie will be with us, but it's my fault. It's my fault. I started the live stream. I didn't see Reggie backstage, and I figured, oh, I must have started the wrong live stream. So I ended the live stream, only to realize that it was a right live stream. So I had to create a new live stream. So Brother Reggie should be with us real shortly. Be patient, brothers and sisters. Brother Reggie will be with us real soon. There he is. My apologies, Brother Reggie. I messed up.
Okay. Hotep, can you hear me?
Hotep, I can hear you. Yes, it's not too loud, but I can still hear you.
All right, let me see if I can change my settings. I wasn't talking loud. See if I can change my
Oh,
settings.
okay, okay.
All right.
But we can still hear you. No, we can still hear
There's
you.
audio. Uh, yeah, communications. Well, uh,
Oh, you
automatically
can you
adjust.
can keep it this way. It's fine. You can keep it this way.
All right, wonderful. How are
We
you?
good.
How are
I'm
you?
chilling. I'm chilling. Really chilling. It's been a special week. A week full of information, full of confirmation,
Yeah.
and full of surprise as well. You know, but I will let anybody else, address any issue at hand. But Smash Rockwell, really went in depth. And there's some things that shouldn't really be argued, but I guess anything goes. But brother Reggie,
Hmm.
some people might not know you.
Hmm.
Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. My name is Brother Reggie Mabry. I have a degree in computer science from City College of New York, 1988. I also have an honors award medal in Black Studies in 1988 from the Department of Black Studies, which I also attended while I was matriculating with my degree in computer science. Uh, 1986, I went to, as a student of Black Studies, I went to West Africa with Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, uh, where we did a study. We went to, of course, Ghana, Senegal, Ivory Coast. We went to the slave forts of Elmina Castle, Goree Island, and Senegal, the Tuba Mosque, and it was a study tour. And I built up a close relationship with Dr. John Henry Clark. I had a relationship with him, but a better relationship after that. Somewhere after that uh, period, Bishop Tutu visited the Schomburg Center, and Dr. Clark's office called me and wanted me to be his escort. I had worked at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture of the New York Public Library for about 4 years during that period. So I have some institutional experience working in a Black institution, doing information studies, but working with the Black scholars in the development unit of the uh, Schomburg Center. Schomburg Center is famous because it was created by Toro Schomburg, uh, and that it became the first Black research institution. Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, many of the greats patronized that research center as because it was the only research center. Along this corridor was what was the ending of the Black Star Line. Marcus Garvey had set up shop on 135th Street, so the whole corridor was filled with Black culture. Dr. John Henry Clark and others, including Kwame Nkrumah, studied at the YMCA that was just down the block. So all this is part of my heritage, and up the hill, I got my education. 1987, I went to Kemet with Dr. Ben and the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. We took 1,000 people to Kemet, not to Kemet, sorry, to modern Egypt, where the civilization of Kemet once was. Uh, and and then from that time period on, I've been a participating member of ASCAC. I have presented more than 4 times, at least 2 times on the big stage. The big stage is uh, the big auditorium. Then there's the little rooms, but I presented at least twice on the big stage. My last time on the big stage was a debate where I paired with Dr. Mario Beatty to listen to Asar Imhotep's thinking on the Kemet doesn't mean black, it means riparian land. So I am, unlike a lot of other people, I am associated with the scholars. I've been on stage with scholars on their side, not counter with them. Um, and for the maybe the last 7, 8 years, I've been on YouTube in various capacities trying to educate our people. Many people think that I'm young, maybe I'm youngish looking to them. I'm 57 years old. I am not your peer. I am none of your peers. I come from a different generation, right? I'm in between the elders and I'm in between many of you. I am not your friend, right? I could be friendly with you, right? But I am a teacher. Many of you make the mistake of thinking that you are the same as me because I give you access to me. You are not. I have a peer review paper on Kemet itself. I can write. I got accepted in a journal. I don't just throw up YouTube, Amazon books and do things like that. I'm not trying to create a publishing career. I'm not even really trying to be a YouTuber. I appear on other people's channel for education. This is just one of the many debates you see me on stage against the Moors, against the Hebrews, against the Muslims, against the Christians, right? I'm a person that people call to help them with their research. I've been in many museums, unfortunately, not to Europe yet. So hopefully, I'll get to the Louvre and the British Museum. Hopefully, one day we'll get there. Um, but I've been to many museums in the United States, particularly of course, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Brooklyn Museum of Art, in Baltimore, the Walters Museum of Fine Arts, uh, in Pennsylvania, the Penn State University Museum, and in Boston, the Boston Museum of Fine Arts, and there is an African American museum that I have been there also. So I have been around, and I've been trying to educate our people. And today, I just want to talk a little bit about Africa and some of the things that we think we know about Africa and Egypt, and we really don't. We really don't. So. Uh, Hey, I'm a fan of your work. I'm a fan of a lot of people who do this work on YouTube, and I'm not a fan of others, right? But you and your channel is international, and that's really important to reach, for example, the francophone community, because Kemet Studies owes a debt to the francophone scholars, the scholars in Europe, particularly in France. Price Mars, uh, before Cheikh Anta Diop, Antonin Furman, Haitian speaking, uh, French speaking ambassador to Haiti when Haiti was free, was the first, would you say, anthropologist and possibly African Egyptologist. Um, the whole Alion Diop school, where Diop came from, um, that allowed gave young Diop the courage and the to study this work. But it was others, like Price Mars, that came before him, and then Dr. Theophilo Benga, who is also French speaking. Um, so with Alion Diop's Presence Africaine, um, that became the lead journal, Pan African journal that we in America, even though Dr. Martin Delaney had went to France and started attempting to read the Medu Neter, Dr. Martin Delaney had, as a medical doctor, and had brought that back. It was the Africans in France, the dynamic Africans in France, who led the way for many years and continue to lead the way with Ankh Online Journal and for the conferences that they do. And I was recently on a conference called Beyond West Africa with a number of African scholars who are actually doing the work. So I go past YouTube. A lot of people make the mistake just because they're into men underwear, uh, men shirts, right? Men shoe sizes. They feel that they have done the work. No, you're just beginning your journey. Uh, and so then it becomes these like new ideas and these fringe ideas and this work where you got one eye in a kingdom of the blind and you think that you are the masters, and then the uh, elder group of people, the elder scholars, they don't. There's a couple of reasons why they don't delve into the subject. One is because they're not going to be disrespected by people who have not done the work, right? Who've not suffered under the forces of European institutions to get these degrees. They're not going to be. So they refuse on that basis to deal with some of the young people, to deal with some of these debates. Second of all, it is some of their scholarship is actually sometimes outdated. They're not. They're so much into the classrooms and writing their books that they miss some basic communication steps, and so they think that people have to accept their work, and some of their work is outdated. Uh, but we have to be cautious, because I don't want to ever see the day where some of these young people out and out disrespect Dr. Theophilo Benga, and tell him that he's wrong, and as if that person is doing something. And we have people here that will do that. You know, Shaka, we have people who will disrespect Dr. Theophilo Benga. Uh,
Well,
also,
actually,
huh?
if you don't mind me saying this, someone said that Theophilo Benga doesn't have a degree in linguistics. So I went to look at the San Francisco State University, and they list some of his degrees, and it includes advanced studies in linguistics from the uh, university. Now I forgot if it's Geneva, but it's in Switzerland. And there's also linguistics and philology from the Sorbonne University in Paris, France. Sorbonne is one of the most prestigious university in France. So I haven't heard any answer yet. Maybe San Francisco State University got it wrong, but for the time being, I will go with that university, rather than hearsay, and then we'll see from there. But besides that, he got a doctorate degree and other distinctions. But
Well,
mhm.
but 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 he and Dr. Shekan Diop had their shining day for our people at UNESCO 1974 conference. If you can only forget being them, if you could have only seen them and died, you would have made a contribution. Shaka, uh, we're not going to. There's a lot of people with little ideas. They're into big boy underwear, right? They haven't done the work, and then to even begin to criticize great elders have done who stood up against Europeans uh, is really insulting, and it shows why our people can't move. If those people get teaching positions, and if they are able to teach in a university or or something like that, that's another story. Until then, uh, I'm in a different generation. I mean, I could deal with them and chit chat and smile with them because I'm not intellectually scared of them, and oftentimes wrong. And when they're wrong, they get no penalty for being wrong. So, and I worked on Civilization or Barbarism, the book I did with Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Yalinghi Ngemi. I'm not listed in the book. That's just how things are, uh, how things are. But I worked on that book, Civilization or Barbarism, to help bring it out. I set up a computer system and a word processing system in 19 in at the time it wasn't even Word, it was something else, and it was one of the first publications that was typed out in a pre-Microsoft application because I was a student of computer science. um, I'm
And
not going to.
if you don't mind me saying, for those who don't know, civilization of barbarism, that's from Sheikh Anta Diop. Many times you hear his name. He also earned his PhD from the Sorbonne University, Paris, France, and probably his most famous work is African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, which is kind of an abridged version of his magnum opus called Nation et Culture. The original one in French is a very, very large, very, very thick. And we don't even have a lexicon, or let's say comparison, linguistic comparison between the Middle Nature and the Wolof. And we can see that not only words, but also conjugation. Um, it's very similar in many instances. Unfortunately, this linguistic comparison did not make it into the English version. But for the record, Civilization of Barbarism is also one of the most famous books from Sheikh Anta Diop. So, just for the record, you only heard the title, but just so that you know who the author is.
And there's other works, pre-colonial Black Africa, uh, and also Black Africa, the basis for a federated state. And then there are lots and lots of other work by Sheikh Anta Diop and Dr. Riketti Amen, who is uh, one of the most important African women in the United States in the context of our studies, who got a degree from the Oriental Institute of Chicago, a PhD. Uh, she is the one who brought Meta Nature to us in the U.S., taught us how to read it. Some of her students, Infadishi, Ankh Ra, and others. Uh, and I was able to take Metal Nature with her in 1985. And if you look to YouTube, you will see me in 1985 with Dr. Ricchetti, with Dr.
I
Ben,
saw you.
with Dr. Jacob
I saw you.
Brothers, right, in 1985. So I can, I play the little game with people because I really want them to educate. I want to educate people, and I also want to show them where they are not correct, uh, and share with them, and because it's not always about correction and sharing with them, but they're in big boy underwear, you know. They're in big boy underwear. They think they have accomplished, and they're not. They're not accomplished. So today, I'm going to Net and Neb. I think is coming on again tomorrow. I've worked with Net and Neb, and on the last show, many of you know that I have a good relationship with Netchneb and worked with Netchneb. And I worked with Jonathan Owens. I worked with the Amin Ra Squad. Um,
Mhm.
uh, you know, Ojawa Saw. I mean, I respect as them as who they are, and I respect their particular work. I just have some disagreements with them, and not always disagreements. Some many times I agree with them. So I have some minor disagreements. I think they're good brothers, and I think sometimes it's worth the conversation. So why is it worth the conversation? So we can extend the work, and for you to have in front of you the tools, not the magical tools, not magical linguistic tools, and where you flip a deck in a card and the card comes up and the card comes up repairing. And the issue is whether or not you have a tool in which you're confident that you can do it yourself, right? That you can shuffle the deck and basically send cards around yourself, and it's not magic, and you can play in this game. But if you got the magic deck and you're doing all the fancy tricks with words and stuff like that, and then when you raise a question, it doesn't work because you're not smart enough. You don't know Bantu. You don't know uh, comparative linguistics. That's not what we're trying to do as teachers. What we're trying to do is we hopefully are trying to bring people along so that they could continue the work and be good learners in an entry point, right? But when you don't have people who are following your work and showing that your work actually works besides you, it's three card Molly. Because if you have a method and your method works, other people should follow your method and be accurate with it. And I'm not criticizing, I'm just trying to say Europeans and other groups of people do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, if I can,
Of
look,
course, of course. But actually, before you go on with your present with sorry with presenting your information, I just have one question. Um, I heard that just a couple of days ago, were you given a honorary degree?
no,
Oh, it must have been some
I don't.
misunderstanding.
I don't have a. The community calls me. Look, I won't work. Look, my ex-wife has a doctorate, right? My son is in a doctorate program. If I don't get one, uh, honorary or whatever, it doesn't really matter. My life's work was to help two other people become doctorates, uh, and then to do this work. Uh, the other thing is, people jabba about how much wealth they got and who they are. My wealth is in my family. My wealth is in my son and my former wife that I love, right? That's where my wealth is. And my wealth is in my work with my elders, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, who I didn't mention, who uh, as much as I should have, but he is the person who has put me in this place, dragged me out of the streets into Africa, into this work, right? Taught me how to drive. Um, he actually taught me how to drive a car, helped me get my license. Dr. Leonard Jeffries has been my, and his wife has been my extended parents. Uh, we do this work. We're supposed to do this work for our families' future, and I'm talking about the African family. But looking, don't you with your in your little boy underwear uh, jibber jabber too much, because I'm going to ask you to show your work. But more than that, I'm going to ask you to show you what you've done for the people who loved you, right? So our problem is we want to be this, that, the third, but our children are nothing. Um, hopefully, my son will finish his program. I'm also helping another professor in a federal case currently right now. Uh, it's Delices versus the University of Wisconsin, and I've learned law. Um, I've done a few federal cases as a pro se litigant, few EOC cases. This one I've taken to full term. So the it's right now it's at the summary judgment phase where we've completed our papers. So we're waiting for the judge to decide on the summary judgment issue. So I've learned to know law, and but the more important thing is sometimes I don't like to talk about myself, and I didn't start to talk unless you ask me. But
Oh, it's
the,
okay. Be comfortable.
but the
Um,
measure, but the measure of a woman and a man as being an African is to do more, to attempt to try to do more than your ancestors have done, or at least do as much, and to do it with good speech and good character, right? And to do it that way. And I've tried. I've tried. If I don't make it tomorrow, I've left a legacy, and I have a good family life. I'm a good son to my ancestral parents and to my family. So that's what you should strive to be. I just want to talk a little bit about Africa to make people comfortable about this work. So you'll let me know.
yeah, feel free, brother. Feel free.
Okay.
Feel free. If you have some screen to share, let me know.
Yeah, I am going to share the screen.
All right.
So I'm going to move real quickly through a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if that's all right with you, you can stop me at any time.
Mm.
Um, uh, so inconsistencies on the translation of Kim, even black scholars are disingenuous, right? Here we see the oldest Nile Valley deity. It's this figure right here. Her name is Bat. She is the oldest Nile Valley deity, but you can find remnants of her even in Rwanda, in the rest of Africa, Rwanda and Burundi. You can find her. These women right here are doing the same dance that they did in pre-dynastic time, honoring the cow, the goddess cow. And these women right here. These are the survivors of the massacre of Rwanda. These beautiful women here, every one of them is gorgeous. And they're wearing the same type of costume or ritual dance that our ancestors wore at that particular time period. And they still honor uh, the, uh, the cow rituals. Uh, Ancient Egypt is part of is a child of a larger African civilization. We are Kemet, brushing our teeth with Kemet, and we don't know that it's just a child. It's just a brother or sister of another system, and it has a parent. And so in uh, Egypt, ancient Egypt, I'm going to get to it. Um, we could call it ancient Egypt, and we could call it by more familiar names. But one name that is not completely, it is not the whole civilization is not Kemet, and I'll get to that. The whole civilization is not Kemet. All this Kemet shows laziness or just trying to expedite a point. But the whole civilization is not Kemet. But the fact of the matter is, the people of this civilization worshiped the cow, and they were akin to the cow, meaning they had a relationship, a, 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 if you want to use anthropomorphic uh, relationship. And so these are the complexions of cows, and therefore it would be the complexions of human beings, right? The Wat nurture, the divine cattle. I hope that y'all can understand that. Where did this all start? It started in uh, this concept of complexion, drawing images, started in Southern Africa. We owe a great debt to the people of Southern Africa, the ancient Africans of Southern Africa, because they began to classify flora and fauna, and then they tried and they created the internet for them was wall cave and wall and rock drawings, and they created the first concept of encyclopedias. And then one of the things that they do is that they would separate out their deities and stuff like that in different colors. This right here is in uh, Tassili Niger, Northern Africa, and there are Africans who are black and red. The cows, again, are their representation of humans. Over here, this is Chad. Chad is across the Wadi Horor, what they call the Yellow Nile, that goes into Chad, which was a important thoroughfare for African people, uh, even up to the Islamic sub-Saharan slave trade. Africans used that route to escape, to go further south, to leave the Nile Valley, etc. Here, there, they became more geometric minded in their concepts, but these are uh, the concepts of the African. One important people that thing that people do not understand is what jump human evolution in cognitive and neural thinking was something that happened in West Africa. In West Africa, what we find in the Sahara is what we call pottery shells, the wavy line and dotted. So that tells us that there was a huge civilization of pottery. I'm leaving the article up just because I don't want to. I just want to talk about it. I don't want to read my work. You can read my work after it, but these are my sources to talk about something that was happening in West North Africa. And in West North Africa, pottery or clay was first fired to create something called pottery in West Africa, Northwest Africa. And civilization emerged, and here's the source for that: the first emergence of ceramic production in Africa. It's in French, right? For you French readers, so I don't lose you. This is the source. And it says the discoveries at Unjagu, Mali, excuse me, an open air site in the Dogon County shed new light on the early Neolithic Africa. The stratospheric sequence in a cluster of absolute dates established a tenuous antiquum of 9400 calendar year BC for ceramic shred surge associated with a small bifacial listic industry. So basically, in this area of Africa, Northwest Africa, pottery was fired and so it became a part of the evolution of the African. So a lot of people leave out West Africa. West Africa is way more important than we know because the spread of pottery got to the Central Africa, North Central Africa, and then later to the Nile Valley. And it allowed them to produce something called portable art. So the parents of West Africa, Central Africa, and the Nile Valley are the same. The parent peoples, they're the same. And because of the movement of the weather, it was climate driven, and Ankh West can talk a lot about that. And the drying up of the during the Holocene period, the Africans began to move. But prior to that, this period was a central migration place for all of Africa, for the animals, for the flora, for the peoples. It had the biggest food supply, the most fresh water, etc. It was basically paradise on earth. And then the climate changed, and then people moved. But while that was happening, pottery had been invented, and pottery allowed people to carry seeds, carry water, grow great distances. If it wasn't for the pottery, um, human migration would have been kind of stifled. But it was the African in West Africa that gave the West pottery. So y'all can take that to the bank. So we have evidence of pottery and human migration from a number of sources, and I listed a couple of important Eric Husakums. I have to mention Abbas S. Muhammad and Abdul Rahim M. Keber's uh, great work on that, and then there are several other sources. Early ceramics in the Sahara and the Nile Valley, uh, F. Jesse, the Manning and Katie article, etc. So Africa began to change. These are two different periods right here. This is the up here is the Holocene period, and over here is the earlier period, which is called the Eemian period of 130,000 to 115,000 years, where this green Sahara was paradise on earth. And then from the Holocene period, you can see the beginning of shifting, and then you see more of a modern kind of Africa right now, where it's completely shift. So at some point during the Eemian period, this was all grasslands. It was a major survival part of African culture, and then the Holocene period began to dry up, and then this is more like modern Africa, uh, where it's affected by the climate for now. Somewhere around the period of, let's say, about 9,000 BC. You see, well, maybe a little later, maybe about, okay, let's just say 60, really 6,100 BC, could be earlier. You can see the domestication of cattle. Cattle coming from Asia, but there's also the African cattle that was already there. They learned to domesticate, and cattle became a major conduit of communications. Uh, of remember, ceramics were already fired. You can produce portable art, portable idols, or portable concepts of your culture. Um, the basis of writing. These things were moved around Africa through the cattle. And here you see the Wadi Hawar from the Nile going into Chad, right? And then it will lead to West Africa. You see all roads leading to West Africa. So culture was, uh, even though the culture of one of the children of the Nile Valley and the Nubian cultures, uh, uh, their culture was interconnected with the culture of the other Africans in sub-Saharan Africa. We have the stupidest conversation with the most uh, non-source. I mean, they don't go to college. Some of these people because they couldn't even pass college, right? Which is, they couldn't get through the European, but they in big boy pants. I don't, a big boy underwear, so I don't understand. But this pathway is a pathway that Africans migrated, and while they're migrating with their cattle, they're communicating. And so Africa becomes a very diverse place with diverse peoples with diverse ideas, and they've already established writing. I mean, sorry, established ceramics and portable art, all the basis for something called writing. The conversation that me and Shaka and and Jonathan Owens is with some with Ujao and a few others, and Ujao is legitimate because he knows the Medu Necha. Shaka's legitimate because he knows the Meta Necha. Brother Reggie's legitimate because I have a good grasp of the Meta Necha. Jonathan is legitimate because he knows the Meta Necha. Netta Neb is legitimate because he knows the Meta Necha. If you don't know the Meta Necha, it's not your argument. You got pom poms on, and you're sitting as a cheerleader, right? You can hear me, Shaka. If you don't
Yes,
have
I was muted, but I'm listening.
if you don't have mental nature skills, you're not in this conversation. You're not in the stadium. You're not even a water boy or a water girl or a ball boy or a ball girl. You're a fan. This is not your conversation about what does Kim mean or anything like that. It's not what you think. You can't think. You don't have the skills to think unless you have meta skills. So take a class. Take Shaka's class. He's been trying to get you in a class forever. There's classes in the United States. But if you you can't skip grades in this game. You just can't do it. So let's just get on. So I'm trying to just give you these routes, migration routes continued throughout up into the Middle Ages through the trans-Saharan slave trade. These migration routes of Africans became slave trade lines. Then you have the murderous monster trader Mansa Musa taking one of the routes that our people use for sacred cattle movements to take African slaves to this route over here to Sili Massa across to Cairo for slaves. And we taking gold and copper and cola nuts and African slaves and salt, right? And we tribute him. Get the hell out of here. During this whole period, the African is evolving, and so he and she is evolving. She and he. So if you look at this graph over here, you're going to see these women in that pose that we showed before from the bot pose, and you can see them in that same pose with their hands up above their head, and you can see an African smiting, right? And over here, you can see what was happening in Nubia, and this right here is the elements, the early elements of writing. I have a book called The Origin of Writing that I should be writing today instead of presenting, but I need to present just to give you some contextualization. Then we have symbols on these megaliths that's all throughout West Africa, right? West Africa, Central and Africa are doing similar things, not necessarily same, but they are talking to each other. So I'm getting to this to begin to talk about this conversation that we're talking about today about passages in ancient Egypt and the magical word Kim. Kim is a word that doesn't operate like all other words in grammar, in Egyptian grammar. Kim doesn't never mean what it means. Even though other words mean what they mean, Kim has to mean everything else but dark, black. It has to be a title. It has to be everything else. It can't operate as a normal noun, as a normal adjective modifier. Kim has to do backflips because why? Because it deals with race, or not race, but it deals with ethnogenesis or complexity, right? And that is something that our white counterparts have told us that is fringe and we can't do it. and then we find us some of us agreeing with them and believing in Santa Claus like they believe in Santa Claus, though we know that they are the masters of myth, especially the white myth. So we've been arguing lately about Pepe Aunt Kim and Pepe Aunt Henny Kim, and so I just wanted to weigh in, like Netanyahu is going to weigh in tomorrow, about and talk to you about Egyptian grammar. Um, First of all animals, all humans in Africa have always been painted with ochre. Okra goes from the yellow to deep orange brown. That is the color of Kim, right? That's the color of humanity, okra. It comes down to what crayon you have, and okra is the crayon. And you can mix that okra with other minerals, right? And they've done it based on what minerals they have, and then changing it based, like I said, in Southern Africa with some symbolism. Maybe changing it to purple just to kind of put an emphasis on it. But all everything that they do is okra, right? So let's just start okra, right? And shades of okra, right? Um, it's not. Yeah, they have white, so they can use white when they want to, right? But they also have yellow and beige. Um, it's just depending on. But all people and all cattle were Kim. Was a dark brown, red. So it's ridiculous for a person to say to me, "Well, why did they paint them red?" Because of okra, because of the color of okra, right? And we don't even know what it looked like in the original times. We know what it looked like when it's aged, so we don't see the true color, but we know it's a brownish yellow, right? Sometimes a reddish brownish yellow. But it's not the deal that you're trying to make it. You're trying to do scientific racism with it, right? It didn't mean black Africans. No, all Africans weren't dark skinned. You fools. You stupid, right? I mean, you have the San people that are light. These are some of the first people in the world that are brown. You're stupid, right? And so the Africans over here in Lesotho, this is a Lesotho rock painting, right? So you can see that they are again. Here's a man, his cattle, his antelope. You can see again that they're just using it as a palette for peoples and things. So let's just deal with Kemet for a second. Um, so it gives me a chance to pause and catch my breath. So Shaka, uh, when did Kemet? What is Kemet to you? When did it emerge? Why do you think people just call the civilization Kemet? If you can help me out, I need to take a break for a second.
Of course. Um, Probably because it's the most known ancient name for the territory that we now call ancient Egypt. I've heard you say a few times that it's not the original name, but it was referred to as Tameri many times. Actually, I'm sorry, Tawi. Tawi. Tameri will be an appellation, but we see Tawi more than we see Kemet. Well, personally, from all the artifacts I went through, I usually see Tawi more than Kemet. And Tawi, for those who don't know, Ta means land, and we have the dual form. We don't have the dual form in French or English, but in Arabic or Medu Nature as well, there is the existence of a dual form. So Tawi is a dual form of Ta. So once again, Ta means land, and Tawi means the two lands. Just one moment, please. Ciao.
So great. So why do you think? So why do you think so many people? Well, I think you answered it. People put emphasis on Kemet because that's all that they know. We
Mhm.
weren't using the word Kemet really until Sheikh Diab introduced it, and with Diab Fala Benga in the conference in his argument in the UNESCO against what does Kemet mean and Kemetiyu and Kem, and we still wasn't using it then because it didn't filter down to us. until it got into Black studies. It didn't get into YouTube world, and then we find that the word Kemet uh, uh, begins really in the 10th dynasty, but the word Kim was earlier. And so then we come into other concepts that we talk about, like syncretism and ethnogenesis and things like that. And I'm trying to be, I'm not a heavy handed scholar when I talk, or a researcher when I talk, but I know the terms, and I'm just trying to give it to you lightly and gently, right? Without acting like I know more than you. I'm giving you pathways to look up everything that I say. I'm giving you sources in line. I'm leaving up my work, right? I'm not appealing to authority, right? I'm giving you some thinking. I'm and some pathways. So as Shaka said, the civilization did not begin with Kemet. Kemet is later, but we have our spiritual people most of the time, right, has kind of filtered into this thing, and made the whole civilization Kemet as if it's some magic word, magic word. Um, Most of those people, unfortunately, except for a few, and I don't necessarily, but a few, they don't have any sense of history. They don't. Many of them don't even know how to read the Meta Nature. How do I know? Because they're not on reading the meta nature. They're not on doing the work. They might be in their religious centers doing it and talking about it to their converts, to the people who want to believe. It doesn't always go right. It'd be better if you put it on paper so we can see and we can review. But we find out that you borrow other people's work, you don't give them credit, and you act as if, for example, in America, in the United States, if it wasn't for Dr. Richetti, the words Hotep, Kemet, Tawi. She was the first person to give us those words in a scholarly format. Why? Because she went to the Oriental Institute of Chicago, and she studied the words, and she brought it back to Dr. Jacob Carruthers, who had also been working on the work, uh, and Dr. Milana Karanga, and the Chicago Institute of Kemetic Studies, the Kemetic Institute of Chicago. And that those groups ultimately formed ASCAC, the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. And in New York, you had Dr. Ben, who did use the word Kemet, but not for all periods, for one period. Then you have these religious groups of people who sat there, and I was there when they sat there, and they wanted to listen to what they wanted to listen to. They wanted to listen and make up stuff that they wanted to make up. They wanted to read the Pert Emheru as if it was the Bible, as if it was one Pert Emheru, right? The Ani Anui, as if there's not the Mea Hepri. There is a slew of Pert Emherus. And then prior to that, it was the coffin text. And before that, it was the pyramid text, right? So they acted as if that's the holy book, and then yeah. So I was there when they started formulating these shrines for the most part, or temples, and you might see me with some black eyes, and you might see me beat up, but their teachers weren't good, right? The teachers weren't good. They learned, they sat in the same places as us, but the fact of the matter is, uh, they went other directions. And then so now it's coming to a fold. It's coming to a fold because now we have all the tools. Now we can see, right? We can see past someone's lamentations, and we can see it. We can see it. We can ask what that means. Or you talking metanetra, or you reading a verse. Like some people read the Quran, and they read a prayer from the Quran as if they speak in Arabic. We can see now. We can see. Or are you actually putting together words to make sense? Or are you just parroting something in Medu Neter transliterations and passing it off as language as if you know? We can see you now. And we can also know the difference now if you're doing a real living ritual or if everything that you're doing is funerary text. Or you're doing a funeral? Are you doing a funeral when you're doing? We can see that now, right? We can see the elements, Shaka, of where their work comes from, right? I'm getting to this because I'm not nice, but I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. So sorry if I'm not nice. So here, this is what the residents, the home of the people of Tawi was called, Hinu. And this is the civilization called Tawi. And Ta, it comes from district or state, like Sabat, right? And there's two of them. It's Tawi, right? And then you get Shmai Tawi from that, right? And the original people were the Tawi Timwi before the Kemechi or the Kemets. Tawi Timwi. That's who we are, not we, but our the people that we're studying were.
Can I ask you a question?
Tawi Timwi, huh? Yes. I can't
Well,
hear you. What?
well, maybe two. Can I ask two questions?
Sure.
Now, Rekati, I mean, I heard that the program that she went through, her PhD in hieroglyphic, is a program that they no longer have in the Oriental Institute of Chicago. Is that accurate information?
What do you mean normal? She had a doctor. She got a doctorate in linguistics and I think Egyptian studies.
Okay. And apparently, Temwe will mean, well, it has something to do with Tem, or that we call atom in English, right? Or is it something different?
Uh, what do you mean a tomb?
The deity, the nature atom.
Um, that's the way that a Tim is sometimes pronounced. But what does a Tim mean besides us calling him a Tim? Is it what does it mean?
Oh, well.
So we have so
It's
we
known
we
as a primordial deity, but as for the
Mhm.
meaning of his
Yeah.
name, I don't think I'd be able to answer.
Right. So, but you have it there that is Chim is a primordial concept. So it goes with their syncretism, right? So, but
'Cause We
this
we
is
have in, we have him in the Pasajet, or the Iliad, as the Greeks called it.
no, 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 no. That's later. that's later. All those thinkings is much later. We get more about the Kemenu and stuff like that. Though it may be earlier, but we get that later through later syncretism. But at this particular time period, and that's a problem with meta-nature. So we can pull up the TLA at some point when I get to it, and we can look more at Timwe, but we have the glyphs. So we have to deal with the time periods and the glyphs. So we can get back to that. I'll deal with Mel Hepri soon. Um, this is what we're dealing with: ethnogenesis. Ethnogenesis is a process by which a distinct ethnic or group identity emerges out of other potential diverse identities. This is exactly what we're dealing with. We're looking at when we talk about Kemet, we're looking at a distinct ethnic or group identity emerging out of other potential diverse identities. When we're looking at Tawi, we're looking at a distinct ethnic group at that time period that emerged out of other civilizations. So Nermer emerged. Nermer, he is the unifying king. He emerges out of Nakata and Nubian civilization to create. So we're looking at ethnogenesis. So we're looking at peoples at a different at specific time periods. And sometimes, luckily, with these people, they have language and writing, and we look at the language and the writing to identify. So what I'm saying is the people who at the early stage they was concerned about the two lands, right, and unifying them, right, and that you get Shmai Tawi. That's what Nermer did. And then you have a whole period of people calling the home Hinu, which is a cow skin, right? And that's the residence. That's what they was that when they go Hokoff and the rest of those people do their journeys, they're returning home to the Hinu, right? That's what they're doing. If you look at the text, so um, and then during this period, they call themselves in relationship to the land. We call them. We are quick to say that they are Kemetiyu and we're Kemetiyu, and that's fly. That's all. That's fly. I'm not looking at the chat. Let me look at the chat to see if anybody is if there's anything that I want to answer or somebody that I want to just. So
We
let's see.
don't have new comments. It's been a little while. I think the people are listening.
Huh? Okay. So no problem. So let me just continue. All right. So let's just do this. So difference between me and them. I have a journal article. It's called "Syncretism: Means and Method for Accurately Translating Kemet, and Kim." It's in the library. It's in. Wait. Ashaka. It's in the library. It has a citation. Right. It's copyrighted in the journal. Right.
So it is peer reviewed.
Yeah, it's so by the journal staff, right? And it made it into the Journal Pan African, which was run by the Asar, the Itabari Zulu, who recently unfortunately passed away, and this was a tribute article to him. And because I was talking about Kim and something important, and then connecting these concepts to Professor Itabari as a black bull, as an Asar, it was accepted by the journal and accepted by his family. My work, and you can look it up. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. But y'all don't read. But that's my name, Reginald Mabry. Syncretism means and method of accurately translating Kemet to you. And Kim, I began this at the ASCAC uh, uh, conference where me and Dr. Mario Beatty had counter discussion with Asar Imhotep, but I have been working on what does Kim Kemet to you and Kim means. And you know what? Here's the deal. This is the second journal article on Kemet in the history of the world, period. Uh, the other one was by Asa Hilliard. Mine is much more primary source document. It's 25 pages. You disagree with me, you write a counter argument in a journal and you get accepted. And let the journal print and we can argue through journals. Don't I mean your YouTube comments, you can kick rocks. Because in the academic world, it happens a little bit differently. You can argue, yell at me, I don't know enough, and this, that. Man, cite me, cite the article, cite the page number, cite your argument, write a journal article, or you kick rocks. That's how we play this game, right? Because that otherwise you ain't do the work and you just talking. So let's just keep it moving. I'm sorry about this. So people are cattle, cattle are people.
No, no problem at all.
People build a relationship with cattle, right? So here we have the different colors of cattle, which are the different relationship colors of men and women, or women and men. So we have the Kemet cattle, right? We have the dessert cattle. We have the hedge cattle. We have the Waj cattle, the spotted dappled cattle, right? The hedge and the Waj. So those are the vocabulary of when they start talking about cattle. We spent today, Shaka. I don't know where you was, but I was on that Smash Show and me smashing a sore. We did a prelude to this conversation, but we took a lot more time. So, oh boy. So here you
I'm,
have
I'm,
Mel
I'm, I'm,
Happy.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
caught like the end of the show, and did you say Osar was on the show?
Asar and Ka.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, okay, okay, all right.
Not
I was gonna
Asar.
say I missed it. I missed it. Now you see those colors previously. Is it possible that you go back just a previous slide? Now, the mace hedge can mean white, it can mean bright,
That's
it
what
can
it means.
mean
Yeah.
luminous. Yes.
Right. So that's what it means there. It means all
Okay.
those
All right.
things.
Okay. All right.
And the next one is the Wad, which is the spotted dapple. This one, right? The spotted. And then there is the red, and then there's the black.
Mhm.
And these are the cows. These are the cows. And so let's go on. So Melhepri, which is one of the first Pert rules, one of the ones we really should use because they deal with the commoners and not kings. So they call so Melhepri is an African living in African Kemet, right? And it bothers them to deal with this Pert Imheru because they want to project the Annie, which they've done a good job of marketing Annie, but Melhepri comes before Annie, but his is not as significant. Uh, Melhepri had a bigger job. He was the right hand. He was a fan bearer of the king of Tutmosis, right? Hatshepsut's brother, right? He was the he must have been killed in battle. He was buried in in um in the Valley of the Kings. Why are we talking about Anui when we could be talking about Melhepri, bro? This came first. He's more famous. He's more important. But no, they got us looking at budges. We so silly because we don't read. So here's the thing about it. This is funny. So so here he is, and I'm not gonna try your meta nature, right? I'm not gonna do that because they we were talking about it. These people are rapping like this. They're doing verbal and just like gymnastics here, right? So, but I will tell you that this is a Nezarek. And I will tell you that this is Pasetu, right? And I will say this is Mba. And I will tell you this is Ankh Peri M. Aket. I will tell you that, right? And I will tell you that this is um, uh, a seer, right? But not a seer as a seer. This is a seer, Melhepri. I will tell you that this is Melhepri, right? And I would tell you that this is his name. This is Ren, right? And I would tell you that they say his Ren again. His name, and I would say that this is cows, and this is bull, and this is the seven cows, right? Seven cows in the bull, right? And I would show you. I would tell you that this is them right here that he's giving praise to. But I will tell you that this word right here is really fly right here. You see this word? I can't blow it up, but you see it right here? It says ka, right? Read this. It says henna. Try to read this.
Well, henna, which stands for together with, we translate
Yeah,
as with or ultimately and. Then I see the ka. Then I don't know the phallus. I don't know if the phallus has any phonetic value. Well, it looks like a phallus to me below the car.
Yeah. And that would be
I don't.
what? How would it be pronounced?
Um.
You're going out. What would
Okay.
take a guess what the phallus is? You know it's a
I
trick
wouldn't know.
question, so
I
so
wouldn't
be,
know by itself. I wouldn't know by itself. I don't know if it stands
yeah,
for
mint,
determinative.
mint, mint, mint.
Oh, man. Oh,
The
I should.
biliteral mint.
I should
Right.
have
So
got
you
it.
know, I
I was thinking about the word for husband.
but look at
Hai.
this. Right. But watch this. Look at this, right? Now if I say that this is mit and not a determinative, right? So what does it now say? It says ka mit, right?
Hmm.
You got it? So the ancient Egyptians are funny because sometimes they do play on words, correct?
Yeah, like is it Nini?
Huh?
Nini, like welcome or some
No,
sort
it'd
of.
be ka mit, like
No, yeah,
kamet.
I get you, but I was talking about the wordplay. Just
Yeah,
give
the
you an example.
wordplay. So instead of ka, right? They're just using the K. They're doing a rebus, right? So
Mm.
if you did the rebus on, it's just kemet, kamet, right? Right? Straight up and down, right? But but when we go over here and we look at the let me see, we go and we look at the Europeans. First of all, Europeans is so funny. They not even going to talk about the black bull. They're just not going to. They're not going to even talk about the black bull, and they're not going to say he's black. They're going to just leave that out. But everybody else got a color now. Watch this. So over here, right? We
Jer,
I'm
is
not.
it?
Huh? Say what?
Jer or der?
Yeah. See, they being fly. So be very careful uh with this because okay, so you can see what did you say? Read it again.
Is it der?
Yeah, it's there. So and this over here,
But it looks like hoot, but I cannot tell what's
right,
inside.
right. Looks like Hawat Hor, right? And this
Uh,
looks like Ka, but and this one looks like to me
Heb
Heb,
or Nep, yes, but probably Heb,
right?
yes.
Right. But now leave it up to the Europeans, right? So let's go see what they do with it. They go, they call this the food building, right? And they call this all Lord. We know that this is wrong. This is in the TLA. They do say Hawat Ka. They do say Hawat, and the other way is the way they're reading it, right? So this is Hawat, right? Hawat Ka, right? Uh, and then over here they said deer, and then they have the
Germinative is
Heru,
yes.
right? So I don't disagree with them to read it this way because they're looking at the deity or the neter as last, but they're calling it the Hawat, the Kahawat, and they're calling it a food building. It's most likely a worship building for the cows, and then it's Dur, right? Over here, this one over here, this bull, he has a color now. So now we have to look at how we going to kind of translate this, right? So do we start here or do we start here? Strange.
Well, we should write. I will say we should start from the right.
Uh-huh. So yeah, we have to be cautious. So if we translate it from the right, but they don't translate it from the right, they start it from my left. They say Werit, Merit, S, Dejer, or Dejer, and then they pronounce the name of the skin. So this is basically saying what it says over here. It says whose popularity is great, right? Which is the Weret Meret, and then it says with red fur. It can't be red. What do you call it? Feathers for the bird. It has to be red for the fur of the cattle. Acceptable translation. right? I think so. The reason why I'm just doing this is just because I'm just saying over here, this one over here, same type of formula. We might start over here because we're up to their tricks. So we see Shechem, right? We see Shechem, right? And then we see Ren S, right? So we
Honey.
know that's right. So we can get acceptable translation out of it. What I'm just trying to say is what me and you doing is basically uh observing Egyptian grammar, correct?
Hmm.
Right? I'm leading to something, right? We're following, even when we might disagree at first, we look at our translation and their translation and we try to get something acceptable. So here we know that the ancient Ramesh, what they are doing is they here they're putting the thing that they are worshiping last. So we got their formula, right? You see that? So we're on to them, right? That's last. And then we can see over here, like this one over here. Look. This ka and this met, right? How would you pronounce it? Can you see it? Can you
Well,
see it?
since you have three, that should be the mark of the pro. So Kame two.
Huh? Kamet two, right? Kamet two.
If that's indeed the mark of the plural, because we have the same glyph three times.
Right. So it should be, if it's met, it should be met two, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And this is either ka met to you, right? Or commit to you. Commit, commit you, right? And then we see it over here. He's definitely the black bull. So sometimes it's a play on words, and so here is the here's the word that they're dealing with right here. So I spelled it out for you. Ka met, right? This is what it would look like, but they call it. They do whatever they want to do. The ka tai Jed Watt. Look, Europeans can be wrong too. They don't really have an argument to make this right. We would have to argue them down, and that's what Ujao is doing. Ujao is taking one possible case and saying it's an authority when we know that we if there's a potentially other variation, we should put all the variations and then we should look for context. Am I correct? Am I incorrect?
Mm-hmm. No, I wouldn't say you're incorrect. No.
Right. So all I'm saying is a reasonable answer is to look at all the possible. I can't say that this is just ka tai that they say. I would have to challenge them. This is ka and this is metu, right? I would have to challenge them on why would the ancient Africans put three mets and they've done it over here, right? They put it over here too, right? So so
I'm
should we
I'm
ignore
sorry. I'm sorry, Reggie. Where are you pointing right now?
here?
I don't see the cursor.
You don't see the
Uh,
what's going on? Oh, here.
oh, now I
Sorry.
see it. Yeah, now I see it. Yes. Now,
I'm sorry. I'm looking.
Reggie, if you want, on the bottom right you have hide. If you click on hide, it will remove that little box. Yes.
Okay, so over here, sorry.
Yeah.
So ka met with the plural u,
Hmm.
right? They
Yes.
pronounce it as ka. They just say ka, and they don't even do anything with it. This is the TLA, so I can't accept
Because
that.
the word Tai indeed means
Yeah, it's husband,
husband, but
male.
it's not
Yeah,
spelled that way. I have it spelled now. There might be, as we know, that sometimes it's different spellings, but the
yeah,
pronunciation is the same. But I have it written with the G47 glyph. That's the biliteral cha. The I don't know the word in English, but when you have a duck, the child of the duck, and then
yeah.
you have the phonetic complement of the G1, the vulture, and then the double reed leaf, and then finally the actual phallus and the determinative of the seated man. So maybe as far as they are concerned, the phallus is a determinative for Tai. Maybe that's the way they see it.
For tie for but it's under ka.
It is.
So I can't see it as a determinative for this going this way. What are they doing? Playing tic tac toe?
I don't know.
So no, no, I would challenge that because I know that Ka itself is always look like this with the phallics, right? But there's three of them, so I can't ignore it, and I can't let the Europeans ignore it. So that would be a challenge, right? So we have to ask why is something there, and then we also know that this is the Kakem. This is the black bull, and so in some cases here they are also here talking about appearances, right, of the bull. Sometimes that they're not. So I would just leave it. My whole point of it is that there's a methodology way in which we can do it. Okay, so let's get on with this. Hope I'm not boring you to death.
No, no, no. I was wondering, is this the only translation we have for that papyrus?
What, Mehabri?
Yes.
Yeah, for now, yeah, it's under the TLA. Yeah, it's
In the
the only.
meantime, I will see. I will see if I can find a translation on my
No,
end.
don't look. We've already looked. Don't.
Okay.
Don't look. You can look French. You can look German. We for a full translation of it, we can get to that when we can do some exercises. So let me just get through the grammar part, right? So all I'm doing now is I ended the whole business about talking about Africa. Now we're talking about some aspects of Egyptian grammar. But I have to say this. Here's King Nermer. Can we read this? We can read aspects of it. Some of this actually has is writing. Am I wrong? I'm not gonna do a big deal on this, but is there some writing here? Oh, sorry. Is there some writing here? This is a Nermer mace. So we can see that they're counting cows, they're counting bulls. We can see hay millions. So there's writing. Agree to disagree?
Yeah, there's a little bit. I just recognize
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
the flower. I
Yeah.
know it
Uh-huh.
as the biliteral WN un.
Uh,
If that's the one, if that's the one.
or it could be well. He's a sandal bird, so he's on a Nerma palette. So it could be Shashu or something like that.
No,
Shash.
you know that small thing,
Which
basically
one?
in front of, no, just below, in front of the face. Yeah, yeah, in front of the face. Isn't that the flower, the biliteral un, WN?
Right here. This one right here.
Yes, that's the one. Or is it something else?
Yeah, he because this appears on a Nerma palette. So this is
That's for
chin,
sure. Of course, yes, the
and this
chair.
is shesh something like that, right?
Okay, okay.
Which we find later as shashat, but this is
Hmm.
the male form, and he's the sandal bearer.
Hmm.
He got the shoes. So, but we see if we look closely, we see writing here. We can see that this is probably most likely the Beardet, and we can see the sandal. I mean, sorry, the fan bearers, and we know that this is they're doing what is the hep set, right? They're running the laps, right? You see the lap thing right here, right? And then we
I'm not
see
familiar with that particular
huh?
one. I'm not
Say what?
familiar with that. Yeah, that
But
particular one.
you know in hep set you got to run laps. You got to run like 6 laps to show your fitness. If you the king, let's see if I got Norma Pala here. Uh, the Hepset is the festival where the king proves his fitness, and so poor Pepe, he was an old man, so he but he skipped his Hepsets. But you can look it up. You can look up the festival
Mhm,
Hepset. So and so they have him actually running. They actually have the king running, and here you see basically in my speech that she's there's a bull and the calf, or that she's pregnant. So here's the king, and this is her. Maybe this is his Met. So there's some writing here. It's what you call first dynastic writing. Gunther Dwyer, he comes around, and Gunther Dwyer, he looks at the Abydos layers, and he moves the meter from the Old Kingdom, pre-dynastic period, and he moves it to the period in Nakata 3. So he proved that there's writing in Nakata 3 period, right? And so these are the famous Abydos labels of Gunter Dwyer and what they may mean. And Jed M. Ankekare, who I'm working with, was one of Dr. Riketti Ahmed's students who just went to the big Egyptologist conference and presented and got a huge round of applause uh, with some work that he's been working on, and he used some of my work. And he went to the Egyptologist conference, and he did a great job on the fauna and flora of ancient Egypt, creating a method. But nevertheless, there's writing. What the reason why I'm getting to all of this is because of this silly argument that we're having about Kemet, and this later argument on Kemet. So Kemet here in my paper, Kemet is the collective peoples, right? And Kemet is also collective cattle. Go read my article. I'm not going to go over my article. I'm not going to go over my article today. I just want to get to some points about Kemet. So let's read this over here. I don't know if you could if I can blow it up a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. So let's read. It starts here. So I'm not asking you. This is Old Kingdom text. So I'm just gonna go through it fast. So we see the Ma, right? We see Ma. We agree.
I agree.
This is Iat. So this is kind of like Ma, and then they put another M, and this is Iat. This is the rabbit. This is N. This is S. So his name is what?
This
Winners. Okay, good. And so over here, so if anybody didn't know that Shaka and Dugu can read the Meta Necha, he's reading Old Kingdom Meta Necha with me, right? For the first time, right? So here is two horns, which would probably be Ab. This is Tep.
Tep
This is
F,
F. You're right, Tep F. And
Sem,
this is Sim. All right. And then you have the two bulls, right?
Kawi.
So, yeah. So there you go. So he's reading what Winnie says right off the pyramid text, right? So this is N, right? Now this is funny because this would normally be Chech, and this is the Uber, and this is T, right? But their fly, it might be a dialect, but this is Twat, Tuat. Believe it or not, it's Tuat. But it might be a dialect that they changed before because it's uh, so this is the image. We're gonna read the whole text, and then this is over here is
Relu.
basically he's basically saying sigh, right? He's basically saying sigh, and then over here this is the Kim glyph. This is sa, and then this is the Kim glyph, and he's saying sa
S.
sit, yes, sit Kim. So let's just read it. We can work on we can work on that stuff later. But basically, what the utterance of the pyramid text says: see or look. That was the ma. This Una stands among you, two horns or the head on his head, like two wild bulls. For you are indeed the black ram, son of the black sheep, born of the bright sheep, suckled by four mother sheeps. So this is the whole transliteration that we read: the ma, ahat, unis, pen, imab, the we added that, the tepeth. He got this correct immediately. Smawi in the tuat. This is what I talked to him about. Is the Kim Sa Sit Kemet. I didn't read the rest of the stuff, right? So, peace at Pan African Designs and Apparel. So basically, Onus is saying to you, watch this, that he stands amongst you, but he is indeed the black ram. Sa Sit Kim, black sheep. He son of the black women sheep. He's doing his anthropomorphism. This is where the concept of what I'm talking about, ethnogenesis, the change, the particular new culture coming out of an old culture and standing. This is what I'm talking about. The king, once the king says that he is the side, he is the side Kim, side sit Kim. That's it. He's the deity on earth. He is making the relationships. So I don't want to hear no blah 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 blah. I don't want to hear from you guys. Like if you ain't got a text that says otherwise, you kick rocks, right? That's just how it is. Show me a text or shut up. Source up or shut the hell up. So over here, he's saying over here that he is the Intwad, he's the Sai Kim, Sat Sim, Masood, Sit, and then he's talking about suckling, and then he said, okay, so at this point in the other pyramid text, right, that he continues this, and he continues this with Winnis, Teti, and Pepe. So they continue this form through three pyramid texts. So it's not just one king; it's several. It's several kings. So kick rocks. So now we have what you call ethnogenesis. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit uh some grammar, some ideas of grammar. So what I wanted to say over here is that the ancient Egyptians have anthropomorphic relationships between themselves and their animal counterparts. They use words like tuat, kima, me, and there's some more that they say like I'm like Ra, right? Like live like Ra, right? Me Ra, right? Or they use kima, or they use tuat. So that means they're building relationships. They are building the relationships. Unis is the black, the Psychem, the Psychem. So and see the way it's operating. It's not a title. He is the side Kim. He is the black ram. Remember this whole stupid argument about Peppy Kim and Peppy Henny Kim.
It looks like I lost connection. Let me double check on the stream.
And all this dumb stuff. Oh, hello? Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. For a while I couldn't hear you for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, I think it froze for a little while. You were saying, you remember the stuff about Peppy Cam and Henny Cam, and then
You said
that's
I
what
was mumbling?
no, no, not mumbling. No, it was freezing. It,
Yeah.
the screen froze, and then I
No, it's
couldn't
okay.
hear
I'm
any
just
more sound.
joking.
Yes, yeah,
What I was
and
saying is,
but
you
we
see
know
how the
mhm,
grammar construction here? It
yes.
says it says
That,
tuat.
that's tooth. Is it the word for image? Like in
Yes.
Tutankhamun. Okay, yes.
Yes. So it's the image, right? So over here, so you are indeed the image. You are the image in tuat, right? Sikem, you are the image of the black ram, right? Or black bull, right? Sa, son of the Sit Kemet. You see how the grammar works? So remember the stupid grammar argument that they was trying to make, that this has no relationship to color, or how do we know? How do we know is because the grammar construction is already there in Winnis. You understand what I'm saying? Remember Pepe Aunt Kim's stupid argument with Pepe Aunt Kim, and then what does the Kim mean? Or means the black. So why is this not functioning as Tuat is Sai the black, Sa Sit the black female or the black, right? Just the black. Why is this not functioning like this? Why? Because we can translate it. We know that it means the black ram. Is what Ned was talking about with the adjective modifier. You understand?
Oh, yes.
Their arguments have no weight when it comes to grammar because we could pull up the text to show, and they can't pull up the text to show anything different. So I'm just showing you one example. So I'm gonna go on and show you another example. So uh, now titles. So let's just do titles real quick. Cause see, they operate like they're the only people who think, and I mean they are right, brothers. I mean, they just get on my nerves, right? They just do too much. Here, titles come first. So here's the titles. So when we know it's a title, we know what the accepted titles are of those time periods, right? So we don't have to Sarah. We know Nasud Bidi. We know the Neb Tau. We know the accepted Tau. So why create? We know the Karnak, the strong bull, right? We know Neb Kau. We
Go.
we Neb Tawi. We know the titles. Why play? Why make some new titles for us, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that they claimed it's a title. They couldn't say what the title was. So,
So it's unacceptable. That's because
but
you're
you know,
talking.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah,
No, no, I'm talking to you.
it feels like because they came up with this argument of riparian country, then how they to distance themselves from the main meaning of chem, and then they're looking for a way out, but they are kind of stuck in their own game.
Sinking,
Yes, sinking indeed. Indeed. And,
sinking.
and and you know what's amazing, brother Reggie, is that I've been seeing people in the chat going with their arguments, and I keep telling them, why don't you ask them this question, or whatever question they have, why don't you tell them to ask the experts, the PhD specialists? You know, why would you want to push an argument that's far from being established? Why don't you let them show us what title it is? I mean, honestly, 3 hours and 45 minutes to ultimately say, well, I'm not able to show that it's a title. That says it all to me. 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Look, you understand what this game is. If they are disagree with our elders who can do this work, like Baba Bonacci, Montgomery, like Dr. Ricchetti, right, or Dr. Theophilo Binger, they call them names, they disagree. Well, who are you to disagree? Who's co-signing your work? Right? Like I got to get out here, like you got to get out here. We have to be fearless and do the work. Sometimes we make mistakes or things like that, but we leave it open for correction. You
Mhm.
can't leave it open with corrections with these guys, but they don't
Yeah,
show you. Look, I'm doing a full presentation for you. I'm doing history. I'm doing grammar. Right? Um, uh, I'm leaving. If I say something wrong, disprove it. Am I wrong? Do you normally when people come on your channel to do presentations, or do they show you as many primaries? Do
no.
they course as much time periods? Right? And now I'm drilling down to be very specific about what I'm going to say. Right?
But I'm sorry, you said they call Obenga names?
Oh yeah, no, they disagree. They disagree. Obviously, they disagree with Obenga that Kemet means black, right?
They
They
agree with
disagree with
everybody.
Obenga, huh?
I'm sorry, they agree. They disagree with everybody. This
Right. They
there,
just
there,
don't
there are
want
only,
to.
there are only two people on the planet Earth who are correct. Everybody else is wrong.
Yeah. So the thing about it is, Dr. Theophilo Benga is very conscious of these arguments. So is Dr. Cambone, right? And in Ghana University,
Of course,
so is
Cambo,
Dr. Ricchetti,
Obadele
so is
Cambo.
Baba Bonacci, so is other groups of people like Dr. Mario Beatty, so is Infedici. None of them uh, even begins to accept that riparian stuff, but they've moved away from it. Now they're into they largely moved away with riparian. We don't have to. They're on the outside. Nobody agrees. Nobody agrees with that, so we don't have to deal with that. I'm just dealing with it as for educational purposes. I don't take them seriously. Show me a journal article. Show me some institution accepted. I'm not taking you serious. Not me. I'm not playing a YouTube game with you. Right? I'm 57 years old. I've been doing this when you were in junior high school. When you were junior high school, right? I was born in 65, right? When you were in junior high school or something like that, or some of you middle school, you started doing this work. I had already been with Dr. Ben and Dr. Richetti in 1985 and 86. You'll go kick rocks and doing the work. Um, so I want to say in Ken Keddy is when Kemet begins to be the concept of the state. It's moved to become a state. He talks to Merikari, his possible heir, and uh, he says to them in English, provide for men the cattle of God, for he made heaven and earth at their desire. So here he says, Hen Remet, provide for men, right? A wat net, right? That they are the netter, that they are the cattle of the gods. So men are cattle of the gods. That was the relationship between the king and the cattle. The king's job is to provide for men, for they are the cattle of God. Another time in which they used cattle as humans is in the Westcar Papyrus, right? Where they call him the Hen Remet, a Wat net netter. Sorry, they call him.
Might be
Sorry, huh?
might be all missing if it's nurtured.
Yeah. I'm sorry. From the Westcar Papyrus, they call him the Iti Awas Nebi, and then the Unis Papyrus is where I just described. You were going to say something else?
Just at the end, if it's nurtured, then it looks like there's an R missing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm thank you. Well, at least you're paying attention. so can't say that. So I'm not perfect. So I wanna start to close down by looking at topical biography of ancient Egyptian texts, reliefs, and paintings. Uh, I I wanted to pull that up, but I wanted to get some words in that are Kim words that she mentioned: Kemeth, Ankef, Kemes, Kimbu. These are some other words: Chemo, Iru, Kemet, Ir, Kemut. Right. Uh, this says Werneb, Kimu, but I only see Neb, Kemu, Kamhu. And then before we end, then is Ka Kemet, which I'm very used to. Ka Kemet, Pecan, Peckham, right? Kimsey, right? And then it's Kim said. So the issue is all of these words translatable. Why all these words in themselves are they not translatable, right? So here Kimut, uh, is this translator, right? Right? Or Iru Pamut. Are these translatable? Yes, they are translatable, even though that they are surnames, right? So uh, Kimsi, the brother of Kim, right? So we can go on and we can begin to translate each one of these. Kakim, black Kemet, right? Kimi is interesting, like Sabi, right? Basically, I'm Kim, right? Uh, so we can begin to translate these things, and so they're not. Even if the translation there has variations, we can get a reliable translation. So I want to say over here now. This is where I really want to talk about, and I want to uh, start to close down for this example. So the argument was about Pepe Kim and does Kim mean is Kim a title? Well, here we are going to look at some other verbal constructions between sit Kim instead of the ones that I gave sa Kim and sit Kim. So in this text by this PhD by C.A. Graves Brown, the ideological significance of Flint, she pulled out a very important passage uh, that's in several examples that's in several other places. So we're going to look at this construction over here. So we could read this as nim, sab, kim, wad, fs. I don't want to read the meta nature. I want to read that it basically says the particolored knife, which is black and green, has gone forth and it says swallow for itself that which it has licked. I don't really want to read the meta nature because I don't want to sound like we could read the meta nature. What I do want to talk about is that these words are here. So here's sob right here. This is meta nature of sob. And then there is Kim, there is Wad, and then there is NF, or FN, M, NF, NF, right? And then it's NSIB. So the issue is with this thing. Let's go over here. Here, Kim, it says Peri Nim Sab Kim. So this is the black knife. So over here, why isn't Kim functioning like a title? It's functioning like a adjective modifier. It says it says over here the black knife or the black knife, the party colored knife, right? Which is two colors. Let's look at this one over here. This says Pry Nim Kim Ir S. Again, Kim is here. We see Kim over here, and this is Nim, right? So we ultimately get the black knife, right? Here, Kim is functioning as the adjective modifier, the black knife. Uh, let's look over here. Let's see if it's something. And so over here, it's interesting that Kim is not here, but you have Saab S, right? But you have pre. So the particolored knife, right, without the Kim, right, has gone forth. My point is that in grammar, here Kim is operating as a adjective modifier, meaning the black knife, like the black bull, sat Kim, sit Kim it, right? It's operating like that. Why would these people? Where are their grammar examples? You have anything to say?
No, I'm listening.
I'm saying if you were to prove something, you would use grammar examples, would you?
Yeah, we will use occurrences for the translation, but the people who make this exotic claim, they basically invalidate any authority, any specialist or expert.
I don't
So,
care about the people. I care about the
uh,
claim. So
mhm.
the pom pom wearing the dudes with pom
Well,
poms
the
who
the,
are
the mm,
cheerleading them, they don't count because they don't read Metanetia.
mm. Yeah,
They,
I mean, once again, their claim, they could not even show what the title means. So they could not even demonstrate that it means a title. You see, so they have not even begin to argue anything. It's just a simple claim, which really to me is an hypothesis.
it's
It's
not
just,
even. Yeah, it's futile.
yes.
It's sinking and futile because guess what? When you have philology, you have other textual sources to prove grammar, how grammar operates. You're gonna have to prove to me scientifically why your grammar. You're gonna have to show me a case where your grammar your grammar is working. Forget that it's being a title. I want to see cases in language where your grammar is working. I haven't seen that. And those people with the pom poms and the cheerleading suits that are men that's cheerleading them on. Look, I want to see your work.
And I actually have in some of my slides when I give the classes, I actually have the artifact of Abkau.
Right. So where is their besides their claims, right? And besides them trying to get some kind of uproar inside the community, where's their claims? Now, this isn't really interesting because they argue this thing about Kim not being a color. It's riparian. Okay, so let me give you this text source right here. This text source is in the late 11th dynasty. This is during the time period that Kemet Kemet is not only being the land, but guess what Kemet is right here? What's Kemet? Hesi Kim. What does Hesi Kim mean?
Well, it's written underneath.
Yeah, it means praising Kim.
Hmm.
And then over here, just to make sure, it says Nehem e netter. So Kim is a netter. Kim is relevated, has been elevated to a netter. And Kim is what? Ka Kim. Kim is the black cow. Kim is something black. So the people, so what you see is ethnogenesis concept of syncretism where they're elevating the black bull in connection with elevating the country and renaming the country after the long bitter war of the first intermediate period. They're regrouping. They're doing Wahem Masud, and so Kim now is a god. Show me a relationship with that's solid with riparian. Can't do it. But here, Kim, during the precise period that we're talking about, Kim is being elevated to a god, and so people are using that name in their personal names. Let alone the what Netanyahu has shown with his paper with Sabi Kim from a earlier period than this. What we're trying to do, and I'm going to close down except for a few questions, is showing you the text and grammar and showing you grammar exercises. And there was, I think, maybe there was something I wanted to do in the TLA, but
I've actually found that Stella of Abkau. So when you finish, I will just show it to the people so
yeah,
they can see it.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can take a break. I'll stop screen.
Mhm.
All right.
Just for the record, brothers and sisters, I will show you what the Stella looks like. It's about 2000 BC, really. Um, so 11th dynasty, between 2100 and 1963 BCE, made of limestone. And even though it is damaged on the top right corner, I don't even have the pen here. Even though it is damaged here, the glyphs look very, very, very nice. Whoever gets to the Louvre Museum, when you go upstairs, the artifacts will look extremely. I mean, the stelas, the quality of the glyphs. You will feel like the older it was and the better it was. So some of you might want to take a picture, but I don't know how small it will be on the screen. But in there, you will be able to find what we read, if that's indeed the actual artifact we're talking about. Because when I wrote the reference there, I did not include the actual reference. But I don't think there will be several of Abkau. Is he described as the chief of the cattle, the horned cattle,
Uh,
and
um,
receiving
yeah.
offerings, funerary offerings?
Well, it's in French, so I'm not gonna go
Oh,
out there like that.
okay,
But
okay,
yeah,
no problem.
I see for what it says. So now, but no, bring it back up. So let's see now. Is there so in it is he talking about Kemet at all? Did you see?
Well, it would take me a little while to see. I
If you
should
can
have the.
bring up, if
I
you can
should,
blow up the text, you can blow up the text.
can I
Can you
put
blow it up?
hold on. Think I think I should be able to blow it up actually. If I go like this. Oh no, it's not. It's not
Because
working.
unless it's knocked down, he should describe the he should be able to describe
Uh,
uh, the offerings. Uh, okay. The other one was
I'm,
okay.
I'm, I'm gonna remove this and
Okay, so
looking
it's something
for
that yeah.
looking for cam.
uh, I see Ka over here, so I see Ka over here, but
I don't have the top bit, and here, because of the windows, it's ultimately to. Hold on, do I have it shared? Oh, okay. I did not look like that. So if I go to the right a little bit,
oh,
it's
so
better.
this is your picture, right?
Yes, it's actually from a slide.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where the picture is seated. If I would have the picture, I could, blow it up and the quality would be better. But this is me blowing up directly from the PowerPoint slide.
Yeah,
So
because
it will be a bit of a challenge indeed to look at it this way. But I
and
think
sometimes you got to be careful. The Kim was not always the I6 glyph. The Kim is also the cup and uh, the
and the
yeah,
owl.
yeah.
Mm,
So and so we make the mistake of sometimes thinking that the Kim, for example, over here, if you can see this right here,
where,
right?
where,
You have to
where,
see this. We have to see this closer. You see this right here?
where?
Uh, okay. You don't see my cursor, right? You can't see it.
No, because I'm sharing the screen, so
All
I
right.
don't see.
So watch this. Go. Uh, at the very top, it's a half. It's kind of like a half thing, right? Right. Go down.
Here?
Go down. No, no. Good. Good. Go down. Go down. Go down. Right. Wait. 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 Stop. Wait. Wait. Go. Where was I? I want you to go across. Right over here. Here. No. No. Yeah. Go down. No. Go down. Next
Mm.
one. Okay, go to the
Well,
right.
here, I don't know if
No,
that's
no,
okay to
that's
the
heads.
right.
Go to the right. Yeah, right over here. So this glyph over here, we're starting right there. This no, go back. No, go back the way. Yeah, right. Stop right there. Stop right there. No, go. You see the K glyph right there.
Yes, yes, here.
K and then following it is M. So the
Yes.
direct right. So I have to look. I'm gonna have to look at the whole thing and to see because I can't see a lot of stuff clearly, but I do
Mm,
know we do know that chem is also uh it's also that combination of glyphs and not just the I6 glyph. But
mm.
so I just wanted to let you know and
Uh, I will have to double check. I know I filmed it, but I don't remember the title. Just to double check that this is indeed the right artifact. But this one is definitely of Abkau. Who knows? It might have more than one at the end of the day. Oh, there's some other stuff here. Let me just.
so I will I
uh,
will I will look for to see if I can find
actually,
uh Abkau.
and
Uh,
I'm gonna try to see if I can. I don't even think I would have put that title as I uploaded the video. Or maybe if I put, oh, maybe that. Yeah, hold on, let me go to videos. Chief. Uh,
because the only
I, I,
thing that
I know I filmed it before, but I just don't know under what title.
yeah, I'm only interested. Okay, so there's also I'm only interested in it to see if where how he deals with the chem
Hmm.
how he deals with the Kim glyph. The other night that I said that there was a guy in the Ptolemaic period who called himself the Black Bull, and people, I didn't give the reference there because people are so immature. But you have to understand, as humans are making themselves relationship with cows, the Greeks were making themselves relationship with African people. So this particular Ptolemy is making himself a relationship to African people for a very important ceremony because he's calling himself uh, Kakem. So do you want that reference or not? Or,
It's from the Louvre Museum.
no, it's not from
Oh,
the
okay.
Louvre. It's American Museum.
All right.
But remember, this guy's name is Kakem. His name is
Okay.
Kakem, and he's a Ptolemy. And I wanted to add is that translatable? Uh, you know,
So Black Bull.
huh?
Black
Yeah,
Bull.
his name
Yeah.
is, but he's a Ptolemy. He's a Greek.
Well, they took on many characteristics and a fair bit of a culture. They consider
Correct.
themselves pharaohs.
Correct. So that's my whole point of that they take on appearances of African people when they want to. They take ancient Egyptian gods and etc. Right.
Mhm.
Um, so that was my point with that is that even Europeans take upon the image, the tuat, the me, the the kima of the African, and here they took on upon a name. So I don't know what arguments these people have. I think this is a young man's sport, but wanted to come on to your show and we had a good time looking at some meta nature
Do you
and
want to take some callers, Brother Reggie?
yeah,
Yeah. Now let me share the invite link. So if somebody wants to get on the panel, oh no, I'm going to share it there. Should be better.
I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. So let me go there and then invite link. Now the only thing that I require is for people to show their face. So I've shared the invite link. It's pinned, which means that it remains at the top. You will still see it at the bottom, but it will remain constantly at the top. So all you need to do is just to click on the link, and you will get on the panel, and you'll be able to speak to Brother Reggie and ask him any question you like. Feel free. I would love to hear from you. We're not doing anything illegal, so don't be afraid. Don't be scared. You might have questions for Brother Reggie. You might have questions about history in general. You might have questions about the Meta Nature. You might have questions about sources, the different sources that were shared. I wish I could find that video though, but I just don't remember what title I used.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
sorry.
no, no problem, no problem.
What's going on?
I've shared the invite link, so I'm waiting to see if we're gonna have some callers. However, I told them that I require people to show their face when they get on the panel.
Yeah, that's what you do.
So, and I know it slows people down, because people have their reasons. But I prefer at this point to just go that route. Back then, I would just allow anybody on the panel, but since you know I want to take things into another
Wow,
direction because
you had to double check me. You was like, is this really Brother Reggie?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But if people are too shy to call, I can understand.
That's
But
okay.
we're not doing anything illegal. And when people show their face, they will have to take accountability. But some other people, they
I
just
don't
love
care
control.
whatever they do. I mean, I don't care how I can answer, don't answer. I mean, I just want to see their work. I mean, I'll be if they're mean, I'll be mean, right? I mean, this is a little bit different now.
Hmm.
I'm not a YouTuber, even though I'm on YouTube, but I'm not a YouTuber
Hmm.
in the sense of a YouTube scholarship,
Hmm.
right? So, um, meta nature is sometimes difficult. Sometimes you just have to sit down and, you have to have fun with it. Sometimes you make some mistakes, you go back, you fix it. Sometimes you
Yeah.
go look for another reliable translation. Sometimes you look for a better artifact. You're actually doing the work. But the question is, what are they doing? They're cheerleading about
Well,
their
many
big.
many people do that, and indeed, who was saying that? I think was it maybe Netanyahu, but cult following. That's what we're seeing. People follow not just trend, but well, it's more than claims. It's whole trends. They follow some stuff just because some people that they like said it, and that's
Mhm,
not scholarship. That's not scientific. That's not a scientific approach. You know.
mhm.
But what can I say? Some people
When
are
men
just
do
very.
it, when men do it, and there's no real scholarly reason, I call it a homo association.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I didn't say sexual.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
said
yeah.
a homo association. They can take it as they wanna. Like there's no real reason if they don't know the meta nature, if they've not done the work, then they just happen to like the person that's presenting and dislike somebody else. So it's a
Mhm,
homo association. Many of these males have with the people that they are cheerleading on.
mhm.
So, uh,
But it's amazing indeed to see people who defend a non-established claim, a claim that doesn't hold any weight, like you said, a claim that's been sinking. The majority of the scholars in the community have not accepted that claim, and I'm not even talking about the scholars of the field in general. Besides the community, and yet they still want to push it. They still want to go for it, and I'm like, don't you people just realize that you're pushing a claim put forth by just two individuals on the planet Earth?
yeah,
You
that's the
know,
power of YouTube. They've done that's the power, and they have different claims. They at this point they have two different claims. So but the issue is okay. So that's their claim, and people and other people say no, and then they demonstrate. I'm demonstrating through grammar. Neb is demonstrating through grammar. Smash Rockwell is demonstrated through grammar. Which instrument? Well, I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to look at the grammar. Believe the grammar. Tell us
mhm,
how the grammar functions, right? If you don't know, show us all the versions of Kim that I showed you. I showed you a lot of versions of the usage of Kim. Where's your primaries? Show me one version of Kim. You ain't got no primaries. Show me a text. I mean, we was reading Mel Hepri, right? Mayor Hepri. Show us that you can read something or get through it or something. You can't. You can't. See, this is not that type of game, y'all. You got Shaka and Dougal Kemet over here, boy. He a better than your reader, yo. You got brother Reggie, he can read competent. You got Smash Rockwell, Ned and Nev, right? Hey, how many readers y'all got? Where's your primary text? Show us your word. And you can spiritual people. I'm not letting you off. You can't, listen, man. Stop it. Stop it. I mean, come on, spirituality. Look, look, look. Be able to read it or not, man. Stop this. Stop this stuff, man. Be able to read it or not, or take a course. But you just touching a finger on something. Don't make it magic, man. You gotta either be able to read it or not. You can't stand before an altar and all of this stuff and get waves and frequent. I'm not buying that, man. I'm not buying that. Like you don't know the difference between Tawi and Kemet, right? You don't know what Domotic is, or you don't know what Coptic is, right? You don't know that Kimi survives in Coptic and demonic. You forgot that it was Coptic that was necessary for the decipherment of Metanetia, but you don't want to include any of that, right? So so you can't you I mean you what's your argument? Because it survives in Coptic, don't you know? So if you can't use the Coptic, then you are disassociating yourself with the decipherment method. And then there's so look in Coptic for it. What does Kimi mean in Coptic and in Demotic? Why does Kimi act like a UFO, man? Like,
In the Coptic, it means black brothers and sisters. It's the same thing, and it stands for color. It doesn't stand for a title. But
yeah, right. So what is your so it'd be all right. It'd be all right if you got one eye and city blind and we blind, but we not blind. We multidisciplinary. Like look, they still, Giles Metanetia is pretty good. He pretty accurate. He just on some wanna be right thing talking about you haven't shown me no evidence. Joe, we ain't gotta show you nothing.
well,
Like,
the proof is on you. You're the
yeah,
one
like
making
you ain't got
claim.
no paper. You ain't got no paper on it, man. Write a paper on it, man. Get it published in a journal, right? But outside of that, man, and don't get mad at me for saying that. I did it. Don't get mad at me. I didn't do nothing magic. Wasn't magic. It was just spending time in the library. Spent a lot of time in the Metropolitan Museum of Art Library, the New York Public Library. I give you my sources. Spent a lot of time. I went to the library. I got the Richard. Look, do look. This is not see Kemet run, see a sword jump, see set sit. This is not that, yo. This is what did the people of Kemet show in their text, yo. I showed you what Kemet was a god. Yo, I'm exhausted. If there ain't no questions, I'm out of here because you know what?
Yeah, yeah, we can cut it a day. I mean, I've noticed the difference ever since I required people to show their face, but it's okay. I'll continue like that. But thank you very much, brother Reggie. Thank you very much. I hope that the people got some clarity. But like you've stated many times, one of the main reasons why people might feel like, well, okay, maybe there's some legitimacy with such and such claims because they're just not familiar with the meta nature. It's just like when that guy 10 years ago came up and said that the D36 glyph of the arm means Allah, and recently, a few days ago, I saw more guy. On Saneta's platform saying the same thing that arm glyph means Allah. And now people don't know the meta nature, so they're like, well, maybe it does mean Allah. But if you start learning the meta nature, brothers and sisters, you will realize that it doesn't mean Allah at all. And
And
many
more
times,
means and more means needy, wretched, poor in the Medu Neter when it's applied to human beings. So let's stop the card shuffling and special people stuff. Let's just throw that out. You don't know Medu Neter. You can't pull up a dictionary to me. You have to show me the text, the related text. So that game is over, Shaka, where somebody pulls up a word from Budge's dictionary.
which is outdated.
No, they're gonna have to show you it in the text. They're gonna have to show you the primary. And let me just see the meta just so I can check, right? Let me just see the meta to see possibly if it says, man, or let me see the hieratic. Let me just check. I don't believe you. You're lying because you ain't got the skill set. Not you, but them. And you know
Understand?
what? And that's why they're not coming on. That's why the jig is up because guess what? Shaka and Dugu Kemet knows Medu nature, right? And he's on the European side. Brother Reggie, Jonathan Owens, Ned and Ned, right? Uh, 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 how can I say? And wait, watch this. Now I'm gonna kill him. You ready for this? I'm gonna kill him dead.
Hmm.
Where the students at? Where the students at? And where your students at? All you people learn from them that know the metadata. Where you at? Where your examples? See, the difference is when you actually have true text to deal with. When you've done, you know what I'm saying? What I showed is I had to go to the library or I had to research these texts, right? I had to look in the TLA for these texts, right? Where your examples at, students? So I'm not trying to be mean, Shaka. I'm just trying to serve. So
Understood. I understand. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a hypothesis or some argument, but the falsehood is just more than annoying, especially when it's been going on for years. I mean, I remember seeing Dr. Mario Betti's presentation, and I'm like, when will this stop? We don't need falsehood to get by. It's not just gonna help us. But they have their motive.
did you
They
see
want to
my
be funny.
presentation? Did you see my presentation? It
Yes, I
was on
remember seeing it, but
Baba
that was
TV.
like probably a good. Oh no, on Baba T. Was it on
That's
Baba TV?
where Dr. Mario Beatty's presentation, my
I remember,
presentation.
you were going like this, like in front of one of the cast camera, like when we finished.
Not
And
on Kim, not on Kim and on trial. I don't know which one you
no, no,
which.
no, not coming on trial. The presentation regarding that riparian country issue.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I saw your presentation, and I saw Mario Betti's presentation as well. Um,
I
the,
think I saw his presentation. I had put up there too. I think it's
mm,
there.
oh well, I don't remember if I seen it, but I mean, I understood like
No,
10 years ago.
he said this is as hard as E is equal to MC squared. He said comparative linguistics is like E is equal to MC squared.
He said Allah is in the Egyptian text, so he says a lot of things. He said there were Hebrews in Kemet, and those Hebrews were black. I mean, he's a bit all over the place, but I mean,
That's my
it
brother.
took.
I think he got a bright mind. I just wish you ain't got to be right and standoffish. You can be right and be right with the people. You don't have to
Mm,
be right and separate. You can be right with the people. You can argue the things that are right and argue them well. You don't have to argue the things that you think is wrong and argue those things wrong. But that's my bro. I've been dealing with him for a long time. But right now, I'm giving you those primaries, right? I mean, axes is flying, right? Ned and Neb is throwing axes, and Jonathan, right? He's shooting bows to Magi, right? Things are flying. Brother Reggie got the sob. He got the sobby. He got the black knife. He's sticking in you. Hey, we got the primaries. Them days when we didn't have the primaries, when we only had the Pert M. Heru, them days is gone, yo. We got dissertations that's coming off the press that we can read, right? We got library cards. We got all type of cards, right? Yo, in our card deck, we got library cards, multiple libraries. We got access to universities and museums. We show you that we there. Brother Reggie's showing you primary text. I had my brother Shaka read the pyramid text online on the fly. Accurate. Accurate. We don't see y'all doing that anywhere. Right? Y'all can fake the funk and pray and do your hotep thing or whatever you except for in Song Ka, that's my dude. A Song Ka is my brother. I don't mess with a Song Ka because I've seen him read the Meta Netter. I see him do the work. But the rest of you people, you religious people, Kimmy, brushing your teeth with Kimmy. I hope you're not doing a funerary text. We not this is not every text is about a funeral. The Pert Emeru is a funerary text, Shaka. We shouldn't be reading it often, right? There's other things that we can read besides funerary texts. Am I wrong?
Well, we can read all sorts, but we should not rely on just one corpus. There's much more than indeed the Peret Emheru, because for the most part, we will not really get a very clear understanding of it, because to me, I usually say it's a compilation of spells. So we will have other texts where we will have way more understanding. And it's up to the people, depending on how far they want to go or what they want to stick to. Sometimes the easy route, some people just love to take the easy route sometimes. Now,
Yeah,
now
that's the Homo Association.
I just want to say this. That what's up, Claudia? And now, many times people say, okay, we have pyramids in such and such country, but those are not pyramids. Those are just like mounds, kind of like
Okay.
mountains, something like that.
Well,
So,
and it's a
you know,
beautiful thing, but what you're trying to say is there writing in the Bosnia pyramid?
well, that's the most important indeed, because we hear also sometimes we hear, oh, in the Grand Canyon they have some hieroglyphics, but
It's a lot of
it's
UFOs.
yes, yeah,
A lot of
but
UFOs.
we have to be careful. I mean, a lot of time, people say stuff like that online.
No, I can got it, but if show us that we only concerned about writing that is that's translatable, that's deciphered, that can tell us about the people.
Mm.
I actually saw it in video, yeah, and I saw Santa Claus too. Saw a
But
reindeer.
20,000-year-old pyramid, that's very unlikely to me. That's very
Well,
unlikely.
and
In,
what
in
period of
Bosnia, in Bosnia,
no, but what period? I mean, what I mean.
can you
Okay,
can you
so
share, can you share the link with us, so I have a look after the live stream. I'm not
but
gonna.
I don't care. Listen, watch this, y'all. Look at me. I don't care about Egyptian pyramids. I think that they was a little cuckoo. I think they should have built a wall like the Wall of China. I think they would have been smarter to do that instead of building beacons for to get attacked over and over again. I think those religious-minded ancient Kemetiu were cuckoo for Cocoa Pops for doing that.
You don't mean that, do you?
Huh?
You don't mean that, do you?
I definitely mean that. You don't know Shaka? You know who you invited on this channel?
You
Brother
you you
Reggie, huh?
you're saying you think that the commissions were a bit
Cuckoo for
crazy?
Cocoa Pops for doing that.
No, come on, you can't say that. Can't say that.
Why not?
Can't say that.
Uh-oh. I got some time. Hey, look, the late period of
What
ancient
would you go? Why would you go that far? Um, why would you want them to build a wall?
because every king, because every North Sud wanted to copycat that, taking away the resources of the people that needed it to build their funerary or whatever. Some of them wasn't even funeraries. They was taken away from the resources of the people. It was selfish. And then in the later periods, the priests began to sell spells, right, instead of defending the land. So the
It's
structures
not up,
just yeah.
it's not up to the priest to defend the land, but um, what makes you say that what the kings used was the main resources of the country? It's not like people were starving because they had
Yeah, they were.
burial. How do you know?
Because there's many texts that talk about strife in the land. So
Mm,
there's many texts.
strife,
There's
strife in
many,
the land doesn't mean
how
that
many
it's
wait how many I mean look at the intermediate periods. Look at the intermediate
that's
periods in the
that's that's
war.
that's inside conflict. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it doesn't mean that the king was not taking care of business, or that the people
Yeah, there
the
was no
king was.
king during Mentuhotep when Mentuhotep was fighting Keti's people, fighting Aunt Tefi. Look at Aunt Tefi. Aunt Tefi is Aunt Tefi is laughing at the kings. You know how many you know how many people declared themselves kings during that whole period? I think
like
it
you
was
said,
huh?
like you said, those are intermediate periods.
Right.
We had period of stability. Even the foreigners will ask for protection, and food. And so why wouldn't they feed their own people? I cannot roll with that.
But
It seems
why
extreme.
can't you? Because we have the text to talk about the strife.
But,
And the
but,
reason for the strife is because they, during the Pepe period, they had exhausted their resources. They were not ready for the climate change. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't build the granary storages. They didn't do none of that. They did
so you say they were starving?
during the Pepe period. Yeah, yeah. On the first intermediate period. Yeah.
Hmm. So what is the source for that says that they were starving? Because I remember, I'm not sure if it's during the reign of Rek Mire, but I think I touched on that in the video Quebec in my art, where we have mention of a strike because people did not get their salary, for lack of better word. It wasn't coins or notes,
Mhm.
but they did not get their wages on time.
Mhm.
Not that they
Uh,
didn't get their wages, but they just didn't get their wages on time. We even have records, and this is, I think, in that book here by um Parkinson, where he talks about someone who didn't turn up for work because he had a hangover. He didn't feel well. And we even
mhm,
have the name of the person that he partied with.
mhm,
So I don't see a society like that where you could just not go to work because you don't feel well, and then the king will not take care of business. It's very
mhm,
unlikely to me.
mhm. There's a lot of things that you can watch. So this one over here, uh, Egypt's darkest hour, right? A rare mass grave dating to ancient Egypt's old kingdom when political
Uh, I,
infighting between people.
I would really like
Yeah, and
the
then
actual artifact, mentioning
the
that the
wait,
people were starving. But
yeah,
for the record, while you look for it, just going to read to the people. Now, this book here, you might not be able to see it too well, but it's the Pocket Guide to Ancient Egyptian Hieroglyphs, How to Read and Write Ancient Egyptian. It's written by Richard Parkinson. And
yeah.
he says, one of these notes, okay, I don't know if I started early enough, but she was, okay. So let's start there. This page, what's the page number?
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a minute. So what are you doing? Because I was
Oh
answering a
yeah, it's a
question.
page. Yeah, page. I just want to read this, and then I can share your screen. It's page 78. It says one of these notes is a list of who was of work from the work gang in the year 40 of Ramesses II. So that's 1250 BC. We know that one man called Penub was off one day because his mother was ill, while another called
Mm,
Penduau was off because he was drinking with Khunsu. So we even have the name of the person he drank with. Their names are written from right to left in a column down the right with the dates they were off work. Their excuses are written above in red ink. Red ink is often used to highlight certain words. The papyrus tells how these workers went on strike because they had not received their wages on time. Some of the most famous letters to survive from ancient Egypt were written in the reign of Senusret I around 1910 BC by a priest called Hekanakht. He lived in the north of Egypt, but worked as a funerary priest at the tomb of the vizier Epi at Deir el Bahri near Thebes. Sitting in a small nearby tomb, he wrote a sequence of letters. He had all the letters ready to give a messenger to take north. When it seems some people arrived to bury someone in the tomb, Hekanak's letters were accidentally buried in the rubble and were still there for 4,000 years later, when the tomb was excavated in AD 1921 and 1932. Sorry, 1921 and 1922. So actually, the letters are now in the Metropolitan Museum in New York. So those for those who want to
Yeah, I've
have a look
seen
at
that. I
those
know the heck
letters.
in that. I know the heck in that letters. I know. Yeah,
Yes.
I've seen them.
So let me share
Yeah,
the screen.
you
I
can
can
get
share
them.
your screen
Yeah.
for. Mhm. Do you want me to share your screen?
Well, yeah, I can share my own screen. So now
Mm.
so first of all, you have first of all, let's just get this straight. You have ineffective kings. Pepe II was an ineffective king during a terrible time period. Earlier than that, you had an effective king, which is Zoser, right? During the time of Imhotep, but while he was while the only reason why he became effective is because the Nile River began to flow, but he had been preparing for it. So when it wasn't, so for the 6 or 7 years that it wasn't flowing, he was preparing and keeping it, but he knew he couldn't keep Kemet alive that longer. So that was on his mind. Pepe II was an ineffective old king, right, who didn't prepare the kingdom. And this is, how can I say, this is really, you, you, the major, the major pyramids have been built. Now you have the smaller the pyramid, the Winners, Teti, and Pepi pyramid text, um, and then you have drought, and then you have what's happening in Europe. You have ineffective kings. Are you going to tell me? Are you going to tell me that that there were no ineffective kings? You're not.
Well, it depends what you mean by ineffective. I mean, if you tell me there was three ineffective kings over a five
um,
thousand year period, it's not a failure. Nobody's perfect. Who's perfect?
well,
Because in a
it,
society, I'm pretty sure that some people will complain and say that they are not happy, things are not going well. But for the most
mhm.
part, to me, it looked very successful.
Okay. I admit that Brother Reg is a little bit tired, but I am not going to over glorify Kemet, right?
No, no
Because then
issue,
we can't solve no damn African problems if we're over glorifying a civilization that made some mistakes because of religion.
Well,
Ancient.
my dear brother, our people are over glorifying the Abrahamic belief system. Here's your screen there. You know, we are an extreme minority. When I say we, I mean those who are Kemetic. We are an extreme minority. It's not our fault if we don't move forward. We have people who teach that Africans are living a jungle life and Africans are not civilized. I say, and why? They teach that we are the essence of ugliness because we rebelled against God. Nobody tells them anything. The moral teach that black means death according to science, and white means purity. Nobody tells them anything. The,
Yeah,
Hebrew, the Hebrews were
that's
lights.
fine. But I'm
Celebrate
only
death.
dealing with I'm dealing as a scholar with a particular period and the particular periods of the or the intermediate periods and the intermediate periods, though we were successful in from the first intermediate period going into the middle kingdom, there was massive starvation and there was a lot of unpreparedness for our people. So you asked me for text. I told you already. There's Tefi. Tefi uh, is one of the nomarchs uh, that is trying to survive during the failed rule of that king who was too old to rule, and so we can't be glorifying people that aren't prepared. Building you've been to Kemet before, right?
hmm
Right.
10 years ago.
That's fine. I was there longer, so I've not been
Of course.
there.
hmm
Right. I've not been there in a while, and I'm probably not going back for even longer while. I don't think I'm too safe there, right? Me personally, as a scholar, uh,
hmm
the fact of the matter is that uh, um, Egypt people of that kingdom was run by Norsuts, and not all of them were effective, and there was a lot of nepotism, and then the 18th dynasty the later 18th dynasty was the worst. That was the worst period for African people because People started really started believe in a made up religion.
No,
So,
but no, but made up. Which religion isn't made up?
well, okay, so let's stay. Let's qualify it a little bit better. They started selling. Their business was selling funerals, right? So many of the kings messed up the trade between other groups of people and the innovations. So you have Akhenaten's failure, right?
No, that then went against the grain. He went against the long time tradition. So I don't think we should take it as an example. It's no surprise that he's referred to as a renegade. But the 18th dynasty, from what I understand, is one of the most powerful era of Kemet. Amenhotep the third was very successful with communication and trade with foreign nations.
Right, but they started they at some point they began to neglect their duties for their people and they didn't prepare.
That's Akhenaten. That's really
Well,
him. That's Akhenaten, and apparently he was messing with some foreigners as well. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it might
well,
be a lesson for
no,
us.
it's the priesthood that he was. His father and his mother were having difficulties with the Amun priest, and so even his father, uh, uh, remember his mother, they built the lake, the Aten lake for the mother, right? They were rebelling against the Amun priests who were basically had all the land, all the money, right, and trying to tell the king what to do, and they could put the king to death um, by saying that he's not fit. And so Akhenaten, it wasn't it wasn't just that he neglected his duties. uh, what he did was he ended the farm. He didn't fight the priesthood. He tried to avoid the priesthood. They ended up coming back and killing him anyway, right? So then I think one of his wife tried to rule first. They killed her. Then you have I Hormheb, right? I mean, I mean, Tut, right? I mean, during this period, so you have weak leadership. The priesthood is actually the priesthood fighting against the people, the religious Negroes, fighting
Well,
against the
if,
the.
if
Hmm?
you argue that, then it would not be the fault of the rulers, and it cannot be the fault of the rulers and the fault of the priesthood. But I don't think we're in a position to say that the priesthood killed Akhenaten.
Oh, he
That's not.
was
It's not.
warring against them, and look at the aftermath. Well, who
Well,
did it then?
to me, it doesn't look like they're warring against him. To me, it looks like his religious reform was not popular, so he moved to Akhetaten, created that new city
No,
there.
he tried to take their power from them.
Well,
He tried to
said,
take the
said,
power of the Amun worshippers from him. Then he dies, and then they create a new god called Amun Re.
no, Amon Ra wasn't before.
No, of course not. It was
You-
it was after Aten. It was the Amun. It was Amun was first, and then after Akhenaten and Tut, during that period is Amun Re. Go look it up. They fused Amun with the sun disk.
I have to look into that
Yeah, you should look it up.
into more detail, but really we cannot claim, we cannot affirm that those things that you're saying, because that period, we don't have that much information. We don't know how Akhenaten died. We don't know.
No, it's not just that one period. It's the power of the priesthood, and then you got to the last most important period. You
You
want to come
you
in?
you you imply you're implying that the priesthood was more powerful than the king.
Yeah,
It's very unlikely.
yeah, but see, you're forgetting. See, there you go. You got to be very careful about. Listen, you know I'm a good researcher. You know I'm a great scholar. You know I have to deal with Jabari all the time. So you know I already done this stuff, right? So if you want to, if just give me some time to clear up my schedule. If you ever want to debate me and you're a friend of mine on the priest usurping the power of the king, We can do that because I mean we can do that all day. It's not like what I think I know. The priesthood usurped the power of the king. Most of the time, the priesthood was in charge of actually how long a king would live.
So
But
so so what do you deal with Kemet then? Why do you study the matter nature? Why do you do all these things like the presentation you did earlier?
what do you mean?
Well,
What
you
do you
went
mean
to
by that?
Kemet.
Wait a minute. Wait. What you mean? No, you okay? I think I'm gonna get off because how can you ask me why I do the things that I do?
Yes.
Because I'm
But
disagreeing with you over the priesthood?
not with me. You what you're talking about is not about me. It's not about my action. You're talking about Kemet. You're saying the kings were ineffective. You're saying that the priesthood were going
Yeah, they
against the king.
were. They became ineffective, and that's in fact how you lose power. Yeah.
During the whole 3,000 dynastic period, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm picking periods to show the ineffective. I have Pappy the second
Yeah,
right here, the ineffective
yeah,
pharaoh.
yeah, but indeed, nobody's infallible. We cannot make a rule out of an exception. Some people
Oh, so
probably
you want to
err.
glorify?
Well,
So you want
no,
to
well,
glorify all of Kemet?
not at all.
You never
Indeed,
studied me. You never studied my work.
listen, I'm not over glorifying because I could say you're vilifying. What you're saying is that some people were not taking care of business. And I'm like, okay, fine, nobody's perfect, but we cannot say that's the case for the whole of Kemet. We cannot put that on the whole empire, and I'm talking about dynastic period. We cannot put that on the whole 3,000 year period because just a few people erred. We have people err in our own community, and we don't even complain. We don't say anything.
Uh-uh.
So
This is
if there's a
this is funny. And we're not talking about a few people. We're talking about the priesthood, right? Interfering with matters of the state because of their ineffective work in being religious, right? And they weren't the true sovereigns. And so the priesthood, and then you have the delay period where they completely destroy the priesthood completely destroys Egypt with around Herihor and the last Ramses. So
so
now
so
you
who's at
have
fault?
Egypt
Who's
in
at
its
fault? Was
biggest
it
decline.
who's at fault? Was it the priesthood or was it the
Yeah.
kings?
Oh, it's largely the priesthood putting pressure on the kings.
All right, okay, I get it. I get it.
Right.
I get it.
And even in the Napata situation, then you have one. It wasn't. It was one of the Napata civilizations. The priests tried to do it to him, and he put them all to death. In the Napata period, they try to relieve him of his duty. He was a strong king, and he said, "Oh yeah," he put them to death. They plotted against him like they had done in Egypt, and he put them to death. He put the priesthood, not the people. He put the priests to death.
The priesthood, yes, yes, yes. What percentage would you give of the priesthood that went against the kings?
Yeah, because they had the
Oh,
most
I mean, over the 3,000 year period, what would be the percentage? Would you say uh, we can put on those who basically did not take care of business?
of the kings of the priesthood.
Well, both.
The priesthood had all the land. They had all the food. They controlled the funerals. They were like they was mismanaging the property. I mean, the sovereignty of the people. They had land. Why the goddamn priest got land?
So you're
They didn't
saying
have
that the
land
priest.
when the Kemet kings were strong. They had it after almost almost celebrated them, and then they started growing stronger until the 18th dynasty. By the 18th dynasty, they had full control, and they started changing things. Now they knocked out women as being hymn netchers. They made them semiots, chantresses. Then they created the god's wife of our moon. They was going, they was going crazy.
What's wrong with the God's wife of Amun?
Oh, because they knocked out the power of lots of women and just made them chantresses, semiots.
So basically, you're saying that the priesthood had all the lands, so they have more lands than the king, and all those kings, all those families, all those dynasties, they didn't figure it out.
See, then we wait. First of all, are you? I just need to ask before I do this because you my brother, but you should know who. Are you a religious Kemet teacher?
I don't really, I don't usually teach religion. I try to stick to the text, but the
You
religion goes with
you
it.
teach netters. You teach you believe in netters and stuff like that.
How could I answer that? I have beliefs. I try to keep them to myself, but usually I teach the
Okay.
text, the language.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
really to
No
play with.
problem. You cool. Look. I I think I think I'm going to shut this down because I don't want to be. Uh,
Let me ask you one question before you go. Reketi Amen. Doesn't she have any title as a priest?
who?
Reketi Amen.
Dr. Riketti Amen is she she is an elder. She could be termed a Hemet in the third, um, and she could be considered a priestess. Yeah,
I
and
mean, did she refer to herself as a priestess? Did she ever refer to herself as a priestess?
she's Sabiat. I'm not as close to her work, but whatever Dr. Ricchetti says she is, right? She is. I respect her that much, no matter what she believes or what she does. I respect her because of she educated a nation of people
No,
who
no,
know.
I understand that, but you're not cutting short any conversation with her for having beliefs. Like, I've so you never heard her referring to herself as a priest, as a priestess. You never heard that before.
Uh, no, I haven't. I'm not so sure that she has, but my teacher, Dr. Yosef Ben Jokanan, who I'm wearing his shirt. This is his dashiki.
Hmm.
Oh, this is his dashiki. Uh, he uh he he said he didn't have a religious bone in his body when it came to Egypt. He says what the people of Egypt what they taught, right? But he didn't believe it. He didn't believe no Aset, no Asar, no Hathor, no nada, no nothing, nada. And
But
that's
why would you tell Kemetic people that they should not be religious, but you never tell, for example, the Nation of Islam that they should not be religious?
what would you do you see this is the problem that you're getting to because you don't know me.
No, I'm
So
talking
what do you
publicly.
yeah publicly what do you why do you don't think they know that I'm anti-religion? I live in New
No, no,
York
no,
City.
no, no,
What are
not
you
that you are
talking
anti-religion.
about?
No, but calm down. I'm not your enemy. I'm not trying to beef with you.
But you said
Um,
that. Why don't I debate the Moors. I debate the Hebrews. I debate the Christians. So you think the Kemet people are any special?
well, I never seen you debating the NOI, and I never heard you telling the NOI members that they should not be religious.
They should not. The one thing about the Nation of Islam is that in most parts they are both. They're not completely religious. They have done an enormous service to the community, and yes, they have made some mistakes, right? But they have done both. They're not completely. They're not completely. You have a right to your private. You have a right to your private religion, but this is not
Uh,
what we're talking about.
so to Kemetic
Wait,
people,
we're talking about two things. Let's just qualify this. We're talking about why the ancient Egyptian empire failed. That's what we're really talking about.
because they were
This,
attacked by foreign powers. That's the main reason. We clearly have all these records and all these data that show that Kemet was attacked on a very regular basis, and eventually at one point it fell. And I don't think it's a good way to attribute that failure of Kemet or that conquering of Kemet
Why they built
on the
three
religion.
beacons? They built
But
three beacons in Cairo that you can see from the Asiatics can continuously come and see. That's all they see. The three pyramids, these three white pyramids.
well,
They're a beacon. They
Kemet
caused
is
it
not
on themselves.
Kemet is not reduced to that. There's plenty of temples and obelisks, and there was a functioning society. People were fed, people were able to live and have some safety. It's not just the three pyramids. Those people were attacked, and ultimately, after all these people,
Why keep attack? Why? It's like Mansa Musa. Nobody was bothering. The Arabs didn't know about the wealth of or the gold supply in Mali and Guinea until stupid Mansa Musa goes and shows them, and then they came back like bed bugs. So one thing is you're overdoing it, and the fact of the matter is really what are you doing it for? For your ego or for the benefit of the kingdom? These pyramids at some point became stupid, and the ancient Egyptians themselves stopped building them because they took too much of resources. So after Amenemhat, he used cheap resources and his pyramid fell apart. He used mud brick and his pyramid fell apart. And so the Nubians now, later, they build small, for the most part, small pyramids. Better use of their resources.
yeah, but the I never seen any indication that the people of Quebec were starving. And I
I'm just
already
showing
read.
you right here. I'm
I didn't
talking
see
about
anything.
Tefi. How
But
do you
you
not
said
know? Huh?
I would like to see the source about that. I don't have a problem seeing looking at the source, but uh, there's indeed
Look,
this
read
strife.
Antefi. Do you know Antefi? Look. Do you read? Do you read? Have you read Antefi? I mean, Kemet was so bad that there was rumors that. See now, because we're public, right? Now, I have to stop because we're public. So in private, we can talk about what was happening in those intermediate periods, because otherwise, then I have to start fighting the Hebrews on Christians for some other type of reasons. But trust me, um, if you are talking to me, religion is a major reason for the fall of ancient uh, the civilization of called Kemet Tawi, Egypt.
And I understand your stance, but religion has always been part of Kemet.
Uh, in different type of facets. I think in different type of facets. I think that the early periods uh, was what you call during the time period of Bot, right? I think it was a different system. I think Nermer's situation and that kingdom was a very strong period. But at some point the kingship began to get weaker, and it came to a pass with Pepi in the Old Kingdom itself before Pepi, but largely with Pepi and his 80-year rule. That was that was a major serious blow of weak kings. Normally, if you look, very few king lives to about 18 years of rule. Most kings about 6 years, 7 years, and then they go to their graves. They're not dying natural deaths now. You think these kings are
Yeah,
dying
I, I,
natural?
I read that at some point, like back in the days, some kings actually were put to death, but that was not like something that was happening all the time. There's some few instances, where it is believed that some kings were put to death. But
Yeah, because
we
they
know.
always have to guard themselves against the priesthood, because the priesthood in the article of what's the article in Siwa, right? That was like the oracles, right? And that's where a lot of the priesthood would be, and that's the invisible control of Egypt. So the only
Mhm.
people who's arguing against me with this, is usually religious, Kemetic people who can't read Meta Nature. This is the first time I've had a conversation with someone who wasn't necessarily religious. I think there's enough sources to talk about. I am telling you names. I'm telling you, Harry Har was after Harry Har, Egypt pretty much. Uh, Harry Har and Ramesses Kemet, Egypt fell apart. Was attacked by the foreigners, right? Uh, prior to that, those into the intermediate periods that the kingdom became weak. Uh, the kingdom became weak, and definitely the old kingdom, the kingdom became weak because of nepotism of people controlling uh, the resources of Kemet. In the 18th dynasty, we have the whole conflict of Akhenaten, but it started with his father Amenhotep the third and the priesthood there. So you can look up problems of Amenhotep third and the priesthood.
I actually have a few books about that. Of course, some PhDs because they are specialists, and I kind of started, but I was prioritizing the Medu Nature a little bit more. But there's a lot of literature from scholars that I want to go through to get some clarity. So about Akhenaten, about Tutankhamun, and then about the different time period of Kemet.
Yeah, about the priesthood. It was
Well,
all about him.
whatever's available, and then when I get to the text, and I'll be able to read them myself for the most part. But I don't think that we should like we said today, cancel the whole of Kemet because of some time of hardship,
Well,
because
wait. First of all, you was telling me what you think. So you got to be. That's what you think. I'm a little older than you. I've been
true.
doing this for a lot longer than you.
Hmm,
I'm just saying I respect you.
I appreciate that.
Just and I've done the research and I've asked you're like me. We look the same. Yeah, I can show you pictures of me. We're like twins. At one period, I thought that Kemet could do no wrong, and then I figured out. I had to ask myself, why did Kemet fail? It was so great, right? And then I looked at the over increasing belief system, and some of the craziness, all of these killing of the cats and birds, and uh, while Kemet is not doing so, what's the reason for all these stupid sacrifices? What's the
I
reason
mean,
for the millions of cats? Why
most
you got
societies,
sacrifice?
most
Huh?
societies have sacrifices. They sacrifice animals.
Well, Kemet is supposed to be smarter.
But hold on, Reggie. The people of Kemet, they are not all multi geniuses. They have their
I'm
practices,
not
and
saying that. I'm saying there's an institution there that messed up Kemet.
yeah. But I mean, for now, for us, it's easy to say that. You know what I'm saying? If we can do better, then let's do better. But people have the right to be Kemetic. People
No,
have
but
the
we can
right.
criticize just like we can criticize for the fall of
True,
Carthage, the
true.
fall of
But
Rome.
Kemet lasted for 3,000 years. It was an extremely
Right,
society, and that's just
right,
a
right.
dramatic period. So if there was any example to follow, in my opinion, that would be Kemet. You know.
Well, with adjustments.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that
Okay, so I'm
definitely.
making the adjustment. The
Mm,
religion of Kemet uh, evolved into something that was unsuccessful for the kingdom.
mm. And that's your stance.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. It
mm,
um it evolved. It evolved unsuccessful where they are where only the wealthy can buy text. It became funerary text and stuff like that. Only the wealthy and the commoners couldn't. And so it becomes problematic when you find out who is controlling the land and the resources and what the hell they're doing with it.
mm,
And I'm just saying, me and you, we don't. You, my brother, I like you. I actually like you even more. It's just that now we're talking about the subject. And so when you
mm.
ask me, I go and I pull up a source. I tell you about people. I tell you about when when Mentuhotep's people was fighting fighting Keddie's people, right? And the people of Abydos, they were starving. They were starving, and Keddie people fed them, but they still fought them. They still. So you have African people seeing African people feeding them, feed them, and the people still fighting them, right? Um, Africa. There was periods of African time periods where Africans were starving in that particular period. Tefi period is this period where there's talking about enormous starving, and then there was the and then there was a climate situation. I don't know if there was a volcano, but it comes out to be this whole climate.
Catastrophe, natural disaster, or something.
Yeah. So Kimmon wasn't. There's some things Kimmon was very bright
We don't,
about.
we don't, we don't control the natural disasters. It's not. You cannot fault
Why are
people
you
for.
laughing? No, you don't control, but you can prepare some things like grain supplies, like technologies, like foods. They were doing a great job with that, but some of the leadership let down their hands, and so that you expect catastrophes, but
And, and
some of the stuff you prepare for.
and I can agree indeed. I'm not gonna claim that they were perfect. Everybody make mistakes. So as a ruler, you have to take care of your people, make sure that there's security, make sure that people can eat and be happy. And it probably was not the case all the time. But then again, for the for the for,
Mhm.
because a few people erred, we should not put on the whole.
But it's not the people; it's the institution. What I'm saying is, it's there was a growing institution controlling the wealth of the people, who unprepared the people. There's no standing army, right? There was no standing army, and so
Yeah,
when
they
the
will use
invaders came,
mercenaries.
huh? Say
They
what?
will use mercenaries.
Right, and so then it become overusing the foreign, uh,
Yeah,
uh,
the
right.
Magi, the Libyans, and others.
Right, and so then you find out, then you actually see what the problems are at all times. The priesthood during the failures are the most important reasons for the failures. Look at
Well,
the institution, not the not
I'm not sure about
necessarily.
that.
I say what?
I'm not sure, but I don't see the priesthood being more powerful than the kings.
Well, young fella, you my brother.
I have time to research. I have time to read. I'm
Yeah,
eager. I'm eager.
yeah. Well, do that. I mean, listen. See, there you go. I'm not anybody. I'm giving you a research point for you to find out yourself. You're just like me. I was there too. But
Hmm.
when you want to figure out why things fail, you go and you study and you look, and you will see what I am telling you. It's just that if you didn't look yet, I can't blame you. But all of these people now, even in our culture today, when I look at priesthoods, no matter where they are, even Kemetic, see them standing on the sidelines. They're not necessarily directed into our struggle. I've been I spent a lot of years in frontline struggle. They ain't there. They sitting on the sidelines. They doing their craft. They doing whatever they doing. A few of them I like. Most of them, it's money, power, and respect. Right?
Well,
I've been yelled at. I've been disrespected by them. But but not all of them. There are some good groups of people. Like I could talk to the head of the Shrine of Anu. I could talk to him. We may disagree, but he a good brother. I could talk to Jabari, right? Um, and I could definitely talk to Infadishi, right? But there is a current of people sometimes underneath those organizations or whatever, and there's people I cannot talk to. You see me argue with. There's some Kemetic people I can't argue, and I treat them like Hebrews. I don't treat them no different than I treat Hebrews or Christians. That doesn't mean I treat Hebrews and Christians without respect, but I don't
mhm.
treat them. I don't elevate them. You better read. You first you're talking about the Meta Netra and you can't even read it. Then you're gonna bring out an English book like the King James Version, the Hosea, and you're gonna read that, but you don't even know what the text is, and then you don't even know the periods of the place, and then you're saying, well, why am I picking on it? It's African. I'm not picking on it because it's African because I'm African. I'm picking on it because you're trying to use an instrument that you don't really fully understand or know.
Mm.
Well, I've said enough.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming, stopping by,
You was doing
and
all right until you mess with me with
no,
this.
I wasn't messing with you at all. You have your stance, I have mine, and we
I
talk
don't know.
about
I'm checking if you have a stance. You say you haven't read it yet, so there's no stance you have, Saber, until you read it. You have a belief.
well, I don't know what you want me to tell you right now, but as it stand, like I said, those other people with belief system, the reason why they are successful is because that's the way they hold it down. That's the way they hold their power. If we were just like the others and put a smack down on everybody else, and people would not say Kemet failed, they would say Kemet is doing great, Kemet is beautiful. People are afraid to criticize certain rulers or certain religions because they have the power. You know, we did not go about things the same way. But we can definitely learn from the past, and we should not repeat the mistakes of the past. And I do agree with that. And so, with time and learning and clarity, and if we change some habits, we can get somewhere. And but we are still a minority. We cannot carry the weight of the world on our shoulder. And when I say us, I'm talking about Kemetic people. We are definitely a minority. So, I'm not about um, repeating the mistakes of the past. But sometimes some things, are subjective. Personally, once again, and I'm kind of repeating myself, but I feel like Kemet failed because he was attacked by foreign powers. I'm not dismissing the power of the priesthood, and that was mentioned. That's been mentioned, by many people. But if it wasn't for the attacks, the Hyksos is an example. And then we know what happened with the rest. If it wasn't for those foreign attacks, then it wouldn't have failed the way it did.
They were necessary. They were necessary, and they were going to happen because of the wealth that Kemet was showing to other people. So it was necessary. Why? The civilization was in other people's lands, right? So
Yes.
they was pushing their influence, and so
Mhm.
once a king becomes weak, then those people, other people, has a right to deal with them. The Nubians, right? People of Karma, Karma
Mhm.
never respected Kemet. They never respected them, right? Kemet created a line of fortresses that served them well because they would have been overrun by Karma, right? And then Tutmosis, he comes over and he stomps out Karma, right? But the fact of the matter is, other African people didn't necessarily respect all the leaders of Kemet, right? But they were strong. They were strong. But once they got weak, fine. And so the periods where they in fact got weak needs to actually be studied and why they got weak.
Mhm.
And if they were doing Ma'at, if they were doing Ma'at, not every time period of the civilization was doing Ma'at, right? They weren't.
Yeah, but the thing is, the reality is, in this world, you can practice my all you want. It won't stop other people, to take over your land and rape your woman and enslave you. This is a reality as well. But most likely, some people of different parts of Africa did not appreciate certain leaders. It's possible. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't it be
So
so? Because you never have any rulers that's loved by everybody. You can be the nicest guy in the world. You will always have people who just don't like you. So
it was the priesthood that didn't. If Kemet would have been strong, if the priesthood would have respected the sovereignty of the king and help. It was the priesthood that was slowly usurping the power of the king, and they were bad uh, rulers of the people's resources. And so they couldn't fight. They couldn't call for an army. They couldn't do any of the things because the people believed in the divine king, and they was trying to be the puppet master of the king, putting pressure on them. And
Hmm.
so that's why in the early periods with Nermer and uh, Kasemi and all those Jajed, all of those early old kingdom, they ain't had no problem with the priesthood because they created the priesthood. They didn't have no problem with them. It was just the later periods um, where they had more problems. So you will come back to me, maybe Saba, in a little while, and you would tell me either I'm wrong or I'm right based on what the stance that you have now, based on the particular periods and the primaries. You tell me how you feel, but it wasn't always. Watch this. How can it be the foreigners when Egyptians or those Africans are fighting themselves? The foreigners not even there when the Africans are fighting themselves. After Pepe's rule, it wasn't the foreigners. It was Africans fighting themselves during the time period of the flood. Africans was killing each other, and then there was the uniting of the land during. There was no Europeans. No, sorry, no Asiatics. They weren't even a factor at that time period. It was Africans fighting each other to
So,
be.
do you consider that when Nama unified the two lands, it was not Asiatics that he kicked out, or that he conquered, or that he took control over?
Did he what? I don't understand.
When Nama unified the two lands,
Yeah. Mhm.
the
Yeah.
people that he uh I don't want to say conquered, but the people that he prevailed over, do you feel that they were not Asiatics and that they were black people?
Yeah. Botu and P, right? Yeah. So he united. Yes. So he united. He united the lands. So he brought them together. He brought the Sabbats together, right? I don't have a. I don't understand. I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, I have a
I mean,
problem during the late.
go ahead, brother.
I'm listening.
No, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
He
Well, mm,
he was successful. He was successful. They were successful during that time period, right?
yeah, it's later on with the
In
priesthood
maintaining
that
resources. Right. They were successful during the time of Imhotep and Zoser, right? They were successful during that time period. They were successful during the time period of building the three pyramids, right? Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure, and then the whole pyramid age. Then it got a little, and then it slowly began to get a little bit bananas during the second intermediate period, right? Kemet wasn't, or I mean, he wasn't prepared, right? And then they had a strong period of 18th dynasty was a strong period, but slowly it began to get weakened too. And there's a reason why that it got weakened specifically in that particular period, which is the 18th dynasty on, is because of misuse of resources. They couldn't overtake. They didn't get into the Iron Age. They stayed in the brass and copper age, right? It's a mismanagement of resources. They're using resources to build amulets and shit, right? Instead of weapons or having a reason for strong kings, and then you get into another period. So you can't use your sentiment about priests or culture when the culture is not being successful at that time period, given that you have stronger enemies at your door. You have to start making some analysis on economics, politics, and culture and geopolitics, right? And when we fail to do that, then that's the reason why we fail. As a people, we have to be able to analyze what our strengths and weaknesses. So look at the black church in America. Well, you don't know too much about the black church in America.
Oh, I'm very familiar with it. Creflo Dollar, T.J. Jakes, and
No, the
Mason.
early black church.
Oh, the
The
early well, not necessarily.
the early black church, when blacks first began to be Christians, and then become emancipated, they got land and as being for Christians as for favors. You know what they did? They bought slaves. They went to the same slave market white folks went and bought themselves some niggas to mine their land, right? And then they used the money and then they bought pews in churches because they were separate than the regular niggas uh, that they separated themselves from. And they would help put down slave rebellions because they'd be the first to know and tell white master. And then there's an evolution of Christianity where Christianity becomes very powerful in America up until the civil rights movement. But we got what they call the civil rights movement, but now we have nothing. The black church seems to stop functioning. All of a sudden, it's like they have churches, but they're not doing any major. Not all of them. Some of them are good, but most of them have fulfilled their social obligations. Or but they continue to absorb, suck money from the black community and keep them on a listen for a pie, wishing for a pie in the sky. But they're not. They are largely not the black church of the '60s or the '50s or the '40s. That's a fact. Religion is failing black people in America. So many young people have left the church, never coming back. Churches are being sold, right? Because they don't have the membership. Why? Because they have stopped fulfilling their duty. So black people are looking for other answers. So they're going to other religions, which is a mistake, right? Instead of building strong, trying to control city government and stuff like that. Control government. Forget about religion. But I'm not going to study history and I'm not going to do this work and then I'm going to be an apologist and think that this civilization, at some point, it even stopped being Kemet. Kemet, the name stopped being used for a long period of time. But we don't call the whole civilization Kemet, but it was Kemet really strong during the Mentuhotep period, right? The Wahim that period, and then slowly the use of the word deteriorated. But because we know it, we wanna fly the flag with it. But
But,
huh? Say what?
really, we can safely say that despite the name changing, the civilization was the same. Would you agree?
No, there was just because of the evolution of society, there were changes. One is that the cattle cult, cattle became less because of the famine. Cattle was pretty much wiped out, so it stopped being a major cattle cult civilization. So then it moved to a different type of economics. But when it was a cattle cult civilization, that's when it had its most riches. And then so the civilization became more modern, uh, and then started making some mistakes. And again, um, what? So you have to tell me. So maybe I need to be a student. I need to see you. You ask for facts. I'll tell you. I'll show you what I have. But maybe I need to be a good student and show why. If it was, you can only be attacked if someone thinks that you're weak. And if you're only gonna fall if someone thinks that you're weak. Why was why did Kemet grow weaker?
I don't think you can only get attacked because you're weak. People can attack you because you have something they want.
Yeah. Okay. I don't disagree with that. But what was the what you know what happened with Nubia? Nubia, right? They ultimately they went to go to Nubia, right, to attack. Nubia had a strong army at all times. It was a little bit difficult for the attackers to attack Nubia.
Mm. But they still conquered Nubia. And as a matter of fact, if we look at all the greatest empires in history, ultimately they lost their power. You know, and I don't know how long it would last, but it looked like it's been a consistent phenomenon. We don't really have people. Like Quebec was very long, despite all the internal strife and external strife, but that's quite a very long time. But besides that, the Roman Empire, the British Empire, the was it Ashurnali and them, the Assyrians, the Persians, the Muslims, the British Empire, uh, the Greeks also. We always have empires that went up and then ultimately went down.
Yeah, but Kemet stopped being uh, African civilization at what time period? What time period did that civilization stop being strongly in African civilization? Do you know?
Well, some people would say it's the sack of Thebes, in 600 BC. Others may disagree.
Yeah. Well, when Pianki, Shabaka, the whole Nubians came, uh, at that time period, they went to Kemet because they felt that Kemet was being Kemet was impure, right? And they who they defeated was really the priesthood, right? And then they brought Amun. Well, they brought some of the other kind of religion concepts back, but what they did is they seen how ineffective that leadership of leaving. If Egypt was going to be weak, then that left a hole for them to be. So they was very preemptive, and then they went to fight Assyria, and they fought Syria with great cost, having one Nasud getting his whole family uh, killed or kidnapped, right? And he went against the gods. He actually made a prayer. Why'd you do this to me, God? I did everything that you were supposed to do. So he went against the netters. Do you know that? I'll find the text for you. He actually made a whole statement about going against the gods. Uh, yeah.
And was that a bad thing to go against the gods?
No, it's a good thing.
All right then. Okay.
Yeah, it was a
Well,
good.
we get to talk about that, some other time.
Oh, I'm just trying to say. I'm asking you. Do you know, or what was your answer to it? You asked
Oh no,
me.
I was not aware of that. No,
I
no,
know
no.
it's your show, but do you? But
No,
I
it's
know
fine.
it's
You
your.
can always you can ask me, or you can
I
always ask
just
me any question
because
you
you
like.
know
No,
what?
no,
At the end of the day,
I was not aware of that. That's what you explained
oh
to me.
yeah, he basically was like he just basically went against the gods, the netters or whatever you want to call them. Why do I do this work? Because I'm looking for that. I'm looking for our people to be successful.
Hmm.
And God ain't helping our people being successful. Ain't no netter helping our people. What we're trying to do is we're trying to engage in this world to make our people. We can't do it by believing. Not, I have my own. Listen, I believe in my mother and my father, and I believe in the grandfather. So I have my own personal belief system, but that's my personal belief system. That'll go to my people. So anyway, you invited me on the show. It was a pleasure. I hope we're better friends uh, on this. Hey man, what did they say? Enemies are at home and abroad.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, not everybody will be on the same page. We would never have everybody on the same page. Other people feel like they have to be spiritual. They have to be religious. They feel it inside of them. It's inexplicable for some, explicable for others, but
It
that's
don't
that's
build
just
an
the way it is.
army. It ain't don't build an army. It don't do none of that stuff. And so,
Well, in the U.S., you would not build a foreign army. Ultimately, we might need to go home, so we're gonna stop getting killed by the police and be able to build, because we can be successful in America, but they might put up they might put a Black Wall Street on us. So I
well,
mean,
I've been to
many people.
Africa too. So you've been to Africa? You've been besides Kenya? Have you been to any other parts of
No,
Africa?
no, that's only Kemet that I've been to, and
Oh,
but I was really talking about like relocating there. But not everybody will go that route. But there's several options. There's
oh,
several options of
you
this.
speak French well, right?
Yes, my mother
Parfait,
tongue.
très bien. You
Oui, je
speak
parle très
French?
bien français. Je savais pas que tu parlais français.
Well, no, 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 whatever, right? No, no,
Un
no,
petit
très
peu.
bien, no, très bien,
Pas
no,
très bien.
no,
Pas très bien. OK.
no, no, no,
Mais j'ai
right?
compris.
No, no, I forgot. I couldn't even say toilet when I was in I couldn't even say toilet when
But
I was in
toilet in French is toilette. It's the same word, pronounced
yeah,
differently.
yeah, but it's different when you actually have. But you should do well if you go to Gambia or Senegal. You should do well.
Well,
Uh,
Senegal, they speak French. In the Gambia, they
you speak French.
well,
In
less than
Cote d'Ivoire,
Cote
huh?
d'Ivoire, yes. But the Gambia, um, I think they will speak more English than French in the Gambia. But in Senegal, yes, a good majority of them will speak French. Yeah.
Yeah, and so between those you listen, you my brother. Don't think just because I talked because we're talking information, right? I am not talking bad about you. We have some
No, no,
issues.
it's all good. It's all
I
good.
know you think we the same age, but we not.
Oh, I didn't. I know. I didn't think that. I heard you many times mentioning your age.
Yeah, I shaved my mustache and stuff so I could come on the show to look a little younger, right? Show my
I
shave
know.
off
I
my
know. I know you. I know you're much. I know you're much
show my
older.
graves. But I would say look for the answer, and we continue to talk and we'll work together because answers, whether they're right or wrong, the discovery of them is science. So I'm get something to eat. Peace. It was a pleasure.
Peace. It was a pleasure. Likewise. I
Uncle
appreciate it.
said,
Always cordial. That's the best way. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
my brother.
Duas and
Peace, peace.
E Reggie. Well, brothers and
Uncle,
sisters. Oh, oh, he's gone. But you had this cash app all through the live stream. So if you wanna, support Brother Reggie, then you can do so. Thank you for being there. It's been going on for 3 hours and 33 minutes actually, and now to 33 seconds. Three, 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 three. So I will leave it there. I guess it's a very interesting discussion. Stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to, by the next, I will definitely holler back at you. Hotel. Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving middle nature classes, and here, that's the flyer. Okay, so those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more. I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it,
Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody is interested in learning the Metanetia, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hana Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medunetia classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class, and all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medunetia class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.